Hello, good evening. Welcome to Poker Night Live. My name's Lyndsay. I'm joined this evening by Mark Banin. I've not seen you for ages.
I know, it's been a while, Lyndsay. I've seen
time.
You on Poker News. And,
yes, I've been doing Poker News.
Yeah.
So it'll be good fun tonight. We're here till 2 o'clock. Lots of poker coming up, as always. We've got some cash games for you. Sit and goes and MTT. It's a $10 MTT tonight with one rebuy and one add-on. Now, we're going to talk about this a bit later on because that can all be quite confusing. It is amateur night tonight on Poker Night Live, so we want your response. We want you to get involved. We want you to tell us what to talk about on the show tonight. It's up to you. We're live and fully interactive, so you can get in touch with us at any time during the show by text or by email. If you'd like to text us, here's the number. It's 84222. Put the word poker at the start of your message and send it to 84222, or if you'd like to send an email, there's the address. It's poker@pokernightllive.co.uk. So lots of poker coming up tonight. Mark, would you take us around our
Absolutely.
tables?
Let's have a look what we've got for our viewers today. So on our first table, it's a 5-cent, 10-cent cash game. This particular one is a get up and sit down as you please. It's a cash game, so you don't have to accumulate all the chips on the table. And one or two regular players that we can see on there, and no doubt we'll be popping in there and see how these boys do a little bit later on. Next one is a $2 sit and go. And what that means is that these guys would have paid $2 to play in a little mini tournament. This tournament consists of 8 players, and they're all given 1,000 chips. And this one is a knockout tournament, so last player standing gets the bulk share of the prizes. Next one on table 3 is a $5 sit and go. This one's exactly the same as the previous one. The only difference is the buy-in for this is $5. Means every player's putting $5 into the pot, creating a prize pool of $40, and $20 of that will go to first place. And our final table, our fourth table, and it's a nice bright green colour. And you know what that means? That means it's our multi-table tournament. And our multi-table tournament means that this will normally start with over 100 players, but it can be anything. It can be 200. We've even had it over 300 on occasions. However, on this particular occasion, it was in fact 94 players that started this, and this, like the other one, is a knockout tournament. Difference being is that it works slightly slower than the other ones. Players get knocked out a little longer, and of course, to keep them in a little bit longer, there's a rebuy and an add-on. And as we'll pop in there, I'll explain what all that means. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that because I tend to stick to the freeze-outs because I know when I'm out, and it can be quite confusing, especially for new players. Yeah. What's an add-on? What's a rebuy? Sometimes you can have one, but you can't have the other, and I think it would be good to maybe go through that and explain that for any of our new players. That'll be good. We'll be dipping in and out of that tournament anyway throughout the night and showing you the final table later on, so we look forward to that. But what have you been up to anyway? Have you been playing lots of poker?
No, I've been playing very little recently. I met a few of the guys down the gut shot for the after their poker bowl.
Yes.
I just popped down there and had a little look in there, and that was a lot of good fun.
Yeah, I must say well done
tables.
To Snap It, Ken Snap It, for winning, because I've not been on since, but congratulations, well done.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that was a lot of fun, and just before that I'd been in Barcelona, in sunny Barcelona.
You're always jetting off somewhere, Mark.
Yeah,
you make me so jealous.
Not enough, Lyndsay.
And what was Barcelona like?
Yeah, Barcelona's lovely. I've been there a few times, and whilst the poker wasn't...
Sorry? Is it a good poker scene there?
Well, they've got one main casino that has some tournaments and some regular cash games. Of course, when I went over there, it was for the heads-up tournament.
Right.
And that obviously means that a lot of players find their way into the poker room where they normally wouldn't go. But so it was very buzzing at the time. But I'll say that Barcelona's a lovely city. If you get a chance, then it's definitely worth going.
I've heard lots of good reports about Barcelona.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
I'm so jealous, so jealous. Now, I actually haven't seen a 5-cent, 10-cent cash game on Poker Night Live. Have you watched one of these tables before?
Not recently, no. I can't remember if I have or not.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I have. So perhaps we should start off with that one.
Yeah, I think so. Let's have a look. So this is 5 cent, 10 cent. So the maximum you can sit down with is $10.
Correct, yeah. $10 is the maximum buy, like 100 times the big blind in this case. So 100 times 10 cents is $10.
A nice level for beginning players to sit down at a table like this.
Yeah, it really depends, you know, with anything, like anything. You have to sit down with what you're comfortable with in terms of bankroll. So this is a nice, easy entry. It's a very small amount of money. The only thing I'd say about this particular kind of game, because we are talking about cents pennies in effect.
Yeah.
With the current dollar rate, we're really playing for what, 2.5 pence, 5 pence.
Yeah, about half, isn't it?
It does mean that people play a little irregular. They won't be playing regularly.
We're going to see quite a lot of loose play.
Yeah, I think so. Although you never know, we do get surprised here on Poker Night Live. I've seen the lower levels play at a very high standard, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys play out. Of course, it is amateur night, so I won't be going through too many complicated moves. I'll really be talking about what the kind of things an amateur player should be doing.
The basic things to think about that you should be taking
Yeah,
into
absolutely. I'll be
consideration.
talking about the kind of basic things amateurs should be doing at this level without getting too complicated.
Yeah.
Of course, as you progress throughout the levels, there are more complicated things, and whilst you might see me say that on a pro night, I won't actually include it. We'll just confuse
We'll be looking
situations.
more at the betting, the hands, the position, that kind of thing. We'll not be going
absolutely.
into the really complicated maths.
No, we won't
side
get
of
too
it.
complicated. We won't get too complicated in terms of maths, and we won't get too complicated in terms of betting procedures and betting situations.
And of course, if anyone hasn't actually seen the show before, we do alternate amateur night and pro night. So if you've been playing for a long time and you want to go down the sort of more complicated side of the game, every other night is a pro night, and you guys do get quite deep and intense on those shows, don't you? Sometimes.
Yeah, we can do.
The debate can get quite heated and quite interesting. But
Oh, sometimes, yeah. I think me and James like to get heated.
Yes, yeah.
So it can be interesting. So.
But always interesting to hear two completely different points of view about one particular hand, because
as presenters, we generally pretty much all play quite differently. I would say James and Tom probably play similar to each other, fairly similar to each other, and I think to a degree, perhaps me and Nick play a little bit more closer out. I mean, we're still quite far apart in terms of how we play, but I think we probably play a little closer together than how perhaps the others. And I think Cass is sort of somewhere in between.
But it's a great representation of the real poker world, because when you go out and play in tournaments, you're going to come across people who all have completely different styles. So it's good to hear everyone's opinion. And
it is, because what you must remember, that poker is a people game at the end of the day. It's one of the things about poker is that you're playing a game just to see what happens here, because this guy is actually raised with, you see, this is what I mean, the guy's raised with absolutely nothing. All he's got is a busted straight and flush draw, and the guy's all he's got is a pair of fives, well, two pair of queens and fives, so he can't call with that. So he made a good fold, even though we could see it was a wrong fold. Overall, in the long run, that was the right thing. But yeah, as going back to what we were saying, so it is a people game, and of course we are playing different people, and you've got to acknowledge, there will be times where I won't keep playing a certain style all the way through. Certain tables, I'm generally known as a loose aggressive player, and certain times people will see me playing fairly tight on the table if I feel that it warrants it. So you've got to adjust. One of the things you need to be in poker is you need to be adaptable. You can't just say, okay, well, I'm playing this way and I'm going to do that regardless. The weather can change.
And one thing any new viewers will hear you guys saying a lot is that there's no hard and fast rules. You'll advise people what's the right thing to do in the long run or in a particular situation, but there's no specific set rule about how to play a certain starting hand, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, there is. I mean, there are certain starting hands you don't want to do, and regardless. But there's no absolute reason, or there's no absolute way to play. There are certain basics that you should follow in terms of technicalities, and that will see you through, and you don't want to wander. But sometimes that can change, because what is technically correct is not creatively correct.
Right.
So what might be good for all situations might not be good for one particular situation where a certain situation warrants it. So
depending on all the other factors in that particular
That's exactly
situation.
right, yeah. The factors are continuously moving.
Yeah.
So you've got to adjust, because a guy who's got a short chip stack who 3 hands later is now chip leader won't play the same way all of a sudden. So you've got to adjust, and it's watching those things happening. And of course, when you've got 8 or more players of that around you where that's happening, then you've got to keep adjusting. But we won't go too deep into that stuff. That's really more of a pro sort of situation. But we're going to concentrate on the more technically correct stuff today, rather than too much creativity, let's put it that way.
Yes. So let's see how these guys are playing at our 5-cent, 10-cent table. It's a first for me on Poker Night Live.
And of course, Well, what I'll do to make things simpler, I'll when you're talking about any figures, I'll just round it up or down according to close rather, so that people get to remember it. So we've got here 367, which means Stefan has got his top pair, his first to act, so he's bet about the pot. Pot was actually 60 cents, he's made it 40. And that's a fair bet. Now, what's Jay Daniels? Really, he should be raising here. Oh, he's folded. Well, that is a surprise. I don't really understand why he's folded that situation. He's got top pair, he's caught 9-7, and he's hit top pair. That's not really something that you'd want to fold. The correct play is to call. Sorry, the correct play is actually to raise.
To raise it, yeah.
Yeah, or call at best, you know.
Maybe, and then if maybe someone was to re-raise him, then he could think about folding, but he should at least try and raise with it and find out where he is.
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, the thing I noticed straight away, and I think, was it hit? Yeah, against Stefan, who's a fairly, I would say, conservative type player looking at him, because we saw him put down the queens and fives when all he had to do was just call, I think, a $3 bet from Deddy. So I think that was what happened in that situation. So, or was it the other way around? Actually, was it him that had it?
It was him who pushed in, wasn't it?
It was him, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because he had $10 at the time, you're quite right. It was him that pushed in. So Stefan, in fact, is one of the more aggressive players. So perhaps in his occasion, it'll be worth just calling rather than re-raising, because he's likely to re-raise back again with absolutely nothing. But of course, with that hand, you don't want to commit all your chips to.
Right.
And which is quite likely what Stefan is going to do, especially if he's come out betting into a four-way pot. So with him, you just want to call in position, see if you can hit your second pair to give you a bit more opportunity. But it'll be interesting to see what Stefan does.
Now, Lawrence's put his king-queen down, even though he's got exactly the same hand as Sausages, but...
Yeah, and Sausage is doing the right thing here. He's letting Stefan doing the betting for him. He's seen that he's an aggressive player.
Now he knows he's in good shape.
Yeah, he knows now. Now, will he put a little weak bet here? Probably a bet of 2 or something would be quite good. A little tickle bet. He makes it 3, and Stefan folds. For 2, he might have, he wouldn't have called, but he might have been tempted to re-raise, thinking, no, this guy looks weak.
Yeah.
So, Sausages was actually looking for the call there rather than for the re-raise. And he was hoping that Stefan had part of that, but he didn't. He missed completely.
No, it's certainly not as loose as I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to have, because it's sort of 5 cents, 10 cents. If people could call, I was expecting to see most people involved in every pot, but it doesn't seem to be like that so far.
No, it hasn't. I mean, Stefan is perhaps the only one that seems to want to get involved with most pots. And Stefan has called it a Jack-4. I don't really like the call there, to be frank with you. I'd like to put some pressure on if you're going to call with a hand like that. But it wouldn't have made any difference, because Lyndsay boy has a pretty strong hand. Yeah. Queen's full of aces. Only losing to a pair of aces.
It would be that would be the better full house would have won then. It would have been aces full of queens. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the only hand that he was losing to. So unless someone else had that, he had the nuts. Or as it's better known, the second nuts. For those new guys out there wondering what the nuts are, the nuts is the best possible hand according to what the board is at that time. So in this particular case, the nuts would be a pair of jacks, giving you top set. There are no straight draws, no flushes. Sorry, no, there are straight draws. There's no straights, possible straights, and there's no possible flush. So top set is what is the nuts at the moment, and perhaps we'll do it for a couple of hands just to get people acquainted with the nuts.
Yeah.
So top pair in the meantime for Stefan. Oh, and this time Jay Daniels wants to play his top pair. Interesting. Didn't want to play it before, but he did now. And Jay Daniels is probably going to check here. What's Stefan going to do? He thought he had the best hand, but he didn't.
Some nice hands coming out so far.
Yeah, King Queen there for Lyndsay boy. bit of trouble here because Reckless has him dominated.
Yes, he's got the big slick. RNC's hit his flush though, he's flopped the flush.
Yeah, he's flopped the flush, so the best possible hand at this stage would be an ace, any ace,
of clubs.
any suited ace of clubs, yeah. Well, his king of clubs would actually be the best hand totally. Of course, there's only one club in there, so it means if you've got the ace of clubs, it doesn't matter what your other card is, as long as it's a club.
If another club comes, Lance Boy's gonna be ahead. Because he's got the queen.
Yeah, absolutely, and he should really be trying to protect this because it is a weak hand. Whilst he's got a flush, it's not that strong. It is vulnerable, and that's the thing you're looking for in poker. You're just trying to protect vulnerable hands whilst trying to build a pot at the same time. So, and whilst he's got a very nice hand, a flush, which is a big hand, if another, like you said, Lyndsay, you know, spotted that one. If another club comes, it now means that his flush is only 10 high.
Yes.
And if someone's got a jack of clubs, a single jack of clubs, single queen of clubs, a single king, a single ace of clubs, it means he's now lost from what was a nice hand. So he should be making them pay, really, to draw to any hands like that, because it is, it's a nice hand, but
so
it is
if you
weak.
get in that situation, you need to then be putting in a bet. Like you say, you want to make people pay. If they want the chance to see that extra card, if they want the chance to outdraw you, then they're going to have to pay for it.
Exactly, yeah. So we've got a pair of kings, and he's hit the best possible hand at the moment. He's got the nuts, as you can see.
Trip
kings.
Nice.
Yeah, he's come out betting very aggressively.
Would it have been better to maybe try and trap a little bit
Yeah, and he's
there?
been very, very aggressive because a pot was only 75 cents. And he's actually come out betting 170 into a 75 cents pot. So that's...
So in that situation, he didn't really maximise his profit. He could have actually got some more money out.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you've got a good hand in poker, you want to try and get the most out of it as you can. When you've got a weak hand, or sort of not such a good hand, then you want to make sure that if you do lose, you lose the least.
Yes.
So it's about losing the least in those situations and gaining the most when you've got the best hand. And of course there, betting 170 into a 70-cent pot was very unlikely to get any callers.
You might as well hold a neon sign up saying, I've got
a big hand,
yeah.
Because the problem there is, Lyndsay, is that with a king 3-5 on the board, the only person you're going to get coming along is someone that's got 3-5 in their hand.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe a flush draw.
Right.
So, but you know, you want to hit a big hand like that, you actually want people to pay you. And of course, if you're scaring them off, that's basically what you're doing. You're scaring them off by making it so big.
You have to maximise those big hands.
Yeah, now Sausages is raised. He's made it 40 cents. It increases the pot to 55. Nothing for Jay Daniels, but RNC will probably have a look here, I think. I don't think he's going to be putting down his pair of eights. Let's have a look. And that's an acceptable play, calling with a pair of eights. So this is not a bad flop for RNC. He's actually got second pair, and that looks to be a little bit of a continuation bet. And RNC really should raise here to find out where he's at. He should make it at least double the bet, if not a little more. Certainly double, 250, something like that. No, he's folded. He was only losing to an over pair, and you can't keep calling with a pair of eights, hoping to hit your set, because unfortunately it won't happen often enough, and it means that you'll be losing a lot of chips that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes a board will be favourable to you. There could have been a situation where he had the 10, but he needs to find that out. He can't just assume that every time someone bets they've got what they're saying they've got, because otherwise, you know, you're just going to let the cards do the talking for you, and of course they never come up enough times for that to happen. So you've got to assume that they won't always be the correct information that you're being given.
Yes.
In that case, it wasn't.
Well, it was good actually watching that game. It wasn't as loose as I thought.
No, it wasn't.
We might go and have a look at that a bit later on. I'm just going to get a quick email in, and then we're going to go over to our multi-table tournament. This is from Robin Joanne. Robin Joanne says, hi Lindsay and Mark, I thought you might like to hear about something that happened to me twice today. Each time I was playing in an MTT, both times I had made an all-in re-raise with a strong hand. Both times the players took an age to make a decision, each almost running the clock down, and on the site I play on there is an extra time bank of 60 seconds for any tough decisions you may have. That's interesting, I've never heard of that before. Before both of them called me and turned over the nuts. What a disgrace. Why on earth do people do this? Common courtesy and etiquette says to show your hands immediately, especially with the nuts. By the way, neither had internet connection problems because I checked this, as you can on the site, by putting my mouse over their name. Each had 100% connection. They were, in my opinion, just being very unsporting. For those new players who haven't heard of slow rolling, Mark will explain what it is and why you should never do it. It was tempting to make a note on them both, just in case I should get the opportunity to do the same back to them at a later date. But then that would make me as bad as them. Slow rollers, they are the lowest of the low. So, Mark, slow rollers.
I have no idea what it is. No, I'm joking, I do know. A slow roller is basically someone who holds the best possible hand, or they know they've got the strongest hand that's out there. Not necessarily the nuts, but they know that they've got an unbeatable hand, and they pretend like they're thinking about, you know, all they've got to do is call because the guy's all in, because so they can't, it's not as if they're trying to generate more income from it. So they basically take forever to call and then say, okay, I call, and then they turn over their hands and they've got the best possible hand. So it's a very
like
petty thing.
Teasing you, I guess.
It is teasing, yeah. There's only one thing I'll say, Robin Joanne, and this might not be the case, but sometimes people do that. They run down the clock if they're in a satellite, or they're close to the money, or they want other players on other tables to get knocked out. So it might not necessarily have been slow rolling. It could have been done for that reason.
Could have been tactical.
It could have been tactical, yeah. I'm not saying that that's what they were doing, but it could have been. A lot of people in satellites will do that as they're getting closer and closer. They'll make most use of their time, just so...
they're hoping that people will be getting knocked out in the meantime, and they move closer
so
to the
it just moves them a bit closer. Of course, what happens is, as you get in a bubble situation, then all that happens is that you're playing hand for hand anyway, so that makes no difference. But as you get in before the bubble situation, some people will do that. That is a tactic a lot of people do.
Oh, but there you go. Thanks for the email, though, Robin Joanne. We want lots of interaction from you guys tonight. So if you've got a question for Mark, or if you'd just like to tell us about something that's happened to you while you've been playing in the last few days, then we would love to hear from you. You can text us in the studio. There's the number 84222. Put the word poker at the start of your message. Or you can email. And there is the address. It's poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. We'll get some more of your emails a bit later on, but we're going to go over to our MTT and have a look.
Excellent.
So it's a $10 buy-in, Mark.
Okay, so this particular multi-table tournament is a $10 multi-table tournament. It means that, like our sit and goes that we saw at the top of the show, 94 players actually started. Now, on this particular one, there are 88 players left, but we are still in the rebuy period. Now, I'll explain how different this one is. This is a $10 multi-table tournament. You might have seen those before on Poker Night Live. And what that means is that on a normal multi-table tournament, a normal $10 multi-table tournament, what will happen is each person will put in $10 and they'll get 1,500 chips. Once they get knocked out, they leave and they do whatever they want to do. Exactly.
So and that's a freeze out.
And that's called a freeze out, exactly. Now, on this particular one is called a rebuy tournament. However, it's a different rebuy tournament because you're only allowed one rebuy and one add-on. And what that basically means is this. If you're unlucky enough, let's say in the first few hands, you happen to get a pair of aces and someone else has got a pair of kings, and you raise, he re-raises, you re-raise all in, he calls, and you turn over your cards, he's got aces, you've got aces, he's got kings, and he hits a king on you. You're going to think, oh, that was bad luck, wasn't it? I've only played 3 hands and I've had aces and I got knocked out. So what this actually allows you to do, it allows you to rebuy back into the tournament for another $10.
So it's always the same price as the original buy-in?
Yes. So it's not always the same price, but in these ones it will be.
In these ones, it's going to be, if it's a $20, it'll be $20 for the rebuy.
Exactly, yeah. So they'll pay another $10. They'll get another 1,500 chips. and they carry on playing.
And that then goes into to build the prize pool.
That's exactly right. That builds a prize pool. Plus, it allows you that if you did get unlucky in one particular hand, then you don't have to say, oh, that was a waste of time, I'm really annoyed, you know, the guy called me with a bad hand and got lucky on me, or something like that. Now, what happens is, to increase the prize pool further, at the end of the rebuy period, which can last 30 minutes, it can last an hour.
Right.
Yeah. So it means there's a rebuy period for usually an hour. You're allowed one rebuy in that time. At the end of the rebuy, there'll be a break, but just before the break, they'll allow you to buy another 1,500's worth of chips
and that's
for $10.
The add-on.
And that's the add-on.
Right.
That's what's called an add-on. So it's basically a top-up.
Yes.
So let's say, once again, you're doing nicely, you're running well, you'd accumulated some chips, and 2 hands before the end of the rebuy period, someone gets very lucky on you.
And you lose half your stack.
And you lose half your stack, or you lose a proportion. In this case, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, you can get a chance to add on. You add another 1,500 chips to your stack. It will cost you another $10, mind you.
Yes, but you're not as far behind as you.
But at least you've recouped some of those losses, and it also means that there's another $10 in the prize pool, and it means that the prize pool now makes it, you know, now grows.
So you can rebuy and you can add on.
You can do one of each in this particular one.
And that's, but there are different rules for different tournaments. Yeah,
most rebuy tournaments will actually allow you to rebuy as many times as you wish. And that can cause some crazy play. You will see players, some crazy players, that will keep rebuying every single hand. They will actually just go all in blind, almost. Doesn't matter what their cards are.
They're taking the chances, hoping if they get lucky, they're going to build their stack. If not, they don't care because they're going to just keep rebuying.
Yeah, I will say, though, that is not a good tactic.
Yeah.
That is not a good tactic. It doesn't matter what money we're talking about, it's not a good tactic.
You should be playing your game, trying to build your stack, playing the way you normally play, playing good poker and not relying on the fact that you can rebuy.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to rely on the fact that you can rebuy. And also, it means that if a lot of players are doing that, it means that you've now got an opportunity to accumulate their chips onto your stack.
Because you know that they're probably going in with hands they wouldn't normally go in.
Yeah, absolutely. So it means that you can now call in situations, you can just wait for your moment, and you only have to win 2 or 3 of these pots, and guess what? You've doubled up every time.
Yeah,
and
it can be quite difficult though, because even though they might be playing quite recklessly, they can still get lucky. And
they can do, but what they tend to do is they tend to just go all in pre-flop. And let's face it, in an hour's worth of play, there's a good chance you're going to pick up some nice hands.
Yeah.
Nothing fantastic. Doesn't have to be something fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't personally, if someone goes all in, I personally wouldn't call with ace-jack, for example.
Right.
But I'd be more tempted to call, unless I was on the big blind and he was the only one there. But I might be more tempted to call, I would be tempted to call with ace-queen, ace-king.
Yes.
You know, jacks plus.
So
anything less than that,
as long as you're only playing with great hands, you've got a chance to win some nice pots.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. You don't need to grind away in that period. When you've got players like that, you don't need to grind away. You can just wait for your moment. You'll only play 2 or 3 hands, but that's all you're going to need.
Yes.
And you know, in those kind of tournaments, it works very, very well. I mean, you know, before the show, you were asking me. We were talking about the World Series off air.
Yes.
And we were talking about rebuy. Or in fact, we were talking about satellites. You know, the one that I'd qualified for last year was in fact a $33 rebuy.
Right.
And whilst that's only like £15, 16, 17, 18 pounds, or whatever the conversion rate was at the time, the nice thing about it is that there were players like that.
Right.
You know, they're thinking, oh, it's only 15 quid, it's only 20 quid, I'm going to go all in every time.
Yes.
And they did. And I just waited there patiently, and I just accumulated all their chips.
Waited till you had a great hand, then went in and... Yeah.
Exactly. I just called them off for all their chips, and in the end, I won the $10,000 ticket for no rebuys and 1 add-on.
Right.
So, and I took the add-on because they were giving you extra chips if you had the add-on.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was worth doing.
It's worth doing the add-on, even if you've not used your rebuys, because
it can be. Yeah.
If most people are going to do it, you don't want to.
You don't want to lose 2,000. No,
yeah.
exactly right. You don't want to give them an advantage. The only caveat to that is if you've got a monster chip stack, and that extra amount of chips isn't going to really make any difference. Then you might not. But generally speaking, that's the way to play these rebuys, especially the lower level rebuys where there are maniacs on the table.
Yeah. One bit of advice I heard as well was if you are planning to rebuy, set yourself the amount of times you will let yourself rebuy, and then play a smaller stake to what you'd normally play. So if maybe you'd normally play a $20 tournament, if you're going to play a $5 rebuy, and say you decide right beforehand I can rebuy another 3 times.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you're at your 20. Well, otherwise, you can just keep throwing money at it, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, there are some great, tournaments out there, rebuy tournaments. I remember playing one not that long ago. That was a $10 rebuy,
Right.
and there were complete maniacs on the table. And the great thing about it was there were so many players playing in this that it was something like, I think, like a $13,000 first prize for $10.
Yeah, because they just keep building and building.
They keep building.
Yeah.
They keep going all in. They're thinking, oh, it's only a £5 or it's only £6, whatever it is. I'll keep going all in, and they try and accumulate chips the lazy way.
Yes.
And all that happens is that they just build the pot up for the rest of us. So it's nice.
And at the end of the rebuy period, that's the point where they'll tell you exactly how much is going to be paid for each place, because obviously they won't know until the rebuy period is over.
Yeah, until the rebuy and add-on period is over, then that's what will happen.
That's all divided up.
Yeah, so it's an interesting game, rebuy games,
Yeah.
as long as you can afford it and you realise what you're going to get, and just adjust to the table. See how players are playing that particular table, and whether they are maniacs or whether they're just playing a normal game.
I'd like to get some emails on that, actually. What do you think of rebuy tournaments? Do you play in them? Do you love them? Do you hate them? What kind of players do you come across when you're playing in them? If you've got any interesting stories to tell, it'll be interesting to share those experiences.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it'd be good to see how different people play these rebuys that are on here. So, they're good fun, though. They can be good fun.
Yeah, get in touch with us. It's poker@pokernightlive.co.uk and the text number 84222. So we started with 94 runners, and it's a 12-minute clock, this tournament, so the blinds are going up every 12 minutes.
Okay, so...
And, of course, we can't tell you how much the different places will be paid until after the rebuy period. Then we let you know that information.
No, absolutely right. I don't know that just yet. We'll keep an eye on it, though. So, the aces for the Storm. He's done the right thing. Definitely in a rebuy period, it's really up to you. It depends. If you've got aggressive table, then you may want to just limp in with aces, because a rebuy period may mean, like I said a moment ago, that lots of people are going all in all the time. If that's the case, then, it is worth limping in with these big hands, hope to catch someone out. Right, I can actually give you some of this prize money. Of course, we're watching this with a delay, so while we're watching it with the rebuy period not over, I can give you some of those prizes. Total prize pool of $1,770, and that means there's going to be 10 places paid even, and first prize is going to be $531, so not bad for your $10.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Well, this Stu has got the nut flush draw. Not a great nut flush draw, because the 6 of diamonds won't help him, because it will give Loosey Goosey a full house, or the 4 of diamonds won't help either. So that's the kind of thing you want to try and not get too involved with. You certainly don't want to start chasing and putting too much behind that kind of draw, because if the 6 or 4 of diamonds was to come, that would have been a lot of trouble for Discostu.
Yes, yeah, he could end up paying out a lot of money.
He's probably going to lose all his chips.
Yeah,
and that's the thing to avoid. Yeah, you hit it and it's still no good.
Always got to be aware of what hands can beat you, or what hands people are drawing to.
Yeah, there could be all sorts out there, so you've always got to keep aware. But we'll be talking about that more throughout the course of the night.
Yeah. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to head over to a cash game now for a bit. This is a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. So this is a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. slightly bigger stakes to our little tiddly 5 cent, 10 cent one, which we've just watched.
Yeah, 5 times bigger, in fact. So, on this particular one, maximum buy-in here is $50. As I said, 100 times the big blind. And we can see there that a couple of players are doing pretty well so far. Snap It being one of them, who's got $100 in front of him. And is that Sods?
Looks like it, yeah. Snap It, our Pokeball winner.
So let's have a look at how this progresses throughout the course of the evening with Paul 8-ball. Queen 10 for him. He decided to make a little raise from the cutoff. Don't mind that play, really. He can now he can try and represent that that ace, although anyone with an ace in their hand probably will just check. He might want to just put out a little bet here, just to make out like he has got an ace. You can put a little bet here of 1 or something like that, because he did he did bet pre-flop, so he's telling Morrison he's got a strong hand. And if he puts a little bet out here, then it will just scare Morrison off. That might be enough to do it. I don't know. It might be a little too small. No, it doesn't. And Morrison has thought, OK, you're betting that because you want me to call. You must have an ace in your hand. And that's exactly what he wanted you to think. So that was good play by Paul 8-ball. And Morrison did the right thing. Yeah. He doesn't want to take a chance on, even if he hits his king or queen, he doesn't know if it's any good. So Paul 8-ball. So he likes to bet here, and he's playing quite an aggressive game. And he's playing his king-jack nicely. If you are going to play king-jack from early position like he is,
you want to raise.
Then that's the way to do it, yeah. You certainly don't want to be calling with it. I'm not saying you should be playing king-jack from early position, but certainly you don't want to be just limping in with it, because it will just get you in a lot of trouble, potentially. Preferably, I'd just like to throw it away in that position, especially with an under-the-gun limper. Well, this is interesting. Morrison is trying to represent the rubbish that's on that board, the 2-7-4, and Paul doesn't believe him for it. Well, look at that. He's taking it away from him. He says, I don't believe you, I'll call. And he spotted weakness from Morrison on the turn and says, OK, you're weak, I'll take it. So, good play.
He's playing with his ace-2 now.
Yeah. What I might have actually fancied Morrison doing now is... this is a little bit of a complicated play for an amateur night, but I'll give it anyway, and that is to actually check raise Paul 8-ball, because Paul 8-ball had the lead in the betting. Yeah. So there was a good chance he was going to come out betting again, and to actually re-raise him to say, look, the board is 2-7-4. I'm in the small blind. I could easily have any of that rubbish from the small blind, you know, 2-4, 7-4. I could have any of that. If he wants
to check raise, that looks even stronger.
Yeah, and Paul 8-ball would find it very hard to actually call in that situation. So
because it's a very strong move.
It is a strong play, yeah, and you do have to be careful because, and that's why I wasn't that keen on mentioning it for an amateur night. But it is something that you can do. But it is a little bit dangerous if you do it in the wrong time. Yeah, you've got to be very confident in who you're playing against and know their style. Right. We know that Paul 8-ball is a strong player, and we know that just from watching him just in the last few hands, you can guess that, and you can also guess it by the fact that he's got $88 in front of him, starting from 50. Yeah. So unless he's got very lucky, which is, let's face it, is not usually the case, it means that he's going to have a decent knowledge of the game. Yeah.
So it all depends on your opponent.
It does, yeah.
Oh, indeed. You if you're sitting there with the nuts, then you do actually have the hand.
Yeah. So against each play, you want to play a little bit differently. So Snap It's got his king 8, doesn't like that, and I don't blame him. Mid position with king 8, not very good. Name exists, playing very tight with queen 10 in the cut-off, doesn't want to do anything, and Sod's playing even tighter, throwing king 6 suited off the button. Now I'm sounding a little surprised. What I will say is that it's not a bad play at the lower levels to throw these kind of hands away,
Right.
just to get used to good starting hands, because they do mean that you've generally got to bluff a lot with them.
Right.
Why? Because King 6, let's face it, it's not a particularly good hand. It's not going to make a lot of things. The flushes, even if it's in suited, the flushes won't come that often.
Yeah.
So it means that you've got to bluff a lot of the time. So for amateurs, that's a little bit of a different skill that they've got to develop.
So it's not a bad thing to get into that mindset of just throwing it away.
It's not a bad thing to start off with,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the level that we're watching here is a little bit beyond a total beginner.
Yeah, of course.
Some beginners might want to start 25 cent, 50 cent, but it's a little bit on the big side, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say if you're going to start, then a 5 cent, 10 cent game is not bad. 15, 30, 10, 20, 10, 25, something like that is it's sort of good areas to start. 25 cent, 50 cent is beyond what I would call a new
beginner,
player.
yeah.
Well, Paul 8 is going to ask the question, I feel, here. He's going to ask the question whether someone's got a jack. Or is he? There you go, yeah, he is. Morrison can't call, and we know this guy's going to raise.
There's the answer to his question.
Yeah, and he's done the right thing. Oh, the only thing I'll say he's done the right thing is that the raise was too small. That was the only thing, and he's now let him in, and he's got the winning hand, and he's pays him off. So yeah,
Kansas should have put in. He should have came over the top of him with more.
Yeah, he should have really made it 3 times what the original bet was. So if he's put in 250, he should make it 750, or at least around the 6 mark.
So that 5 was just a little bit too weak.
It's too small. Yeah, you've got to make it 650. He's got to feel the pinch.
Yes.
He didn't feel enough of a pinch. He goes, okay, well, I've committed so much in chips to this pot now.
It's only going to cost me another
250 to see if I can hit an ace or a queen.
And he does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he got lucky. Let's just make no mistake about it. He got very lucky. Hitting one of those cards.
He only got lucky because he stayed in the pot because it was cheap enough for him to do that.
Yeah, he probably still didn't have the pot odds to do it because, for one thing, it's a dangerous play that Paul 8 made for the simple reason that if the guy happens to be sitting there with ace-jack, it means they can only draw to the queen and queen only. If an ace comes, he's in real trouble.
Yeah.
Because now he's going to pay off a lot of his chips to the other guy. So it is the thing to remember is that with something like that, whilst the odds of you hitting an ace or a queen are something like I think on with one card to come, I think it's something like 6 to 1, 6.5 to 1, something in that area.
Okay.
Then the problem with it is that you don't know whether, even if you hit your ace or queen, whether it's actually any good.
Yes.
What happens if he's sitting there with queen jack? Yeah, he's sitting there with queen jack.
He's got 2 pair.
So, you know, he's going to have 2 pair,
behind.
and you've got, so you're going to pay him a lot of money. So that's the only thing I'd say about that. So it is a little bit dangerous. But I think that Paul 8 Ball has probably got enough savvy to realise when that's the case and hopefully get away from it.
We can only go on what we've seen so far, I suppose, and up to now, it seems to be the case. And looking at the fact that if he did sit down with the maximum buy-in, he's doubled his money. Now he's got ace-jack.
Yeah, well, he likes his little minimum raise,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
he likes his little $1 bets, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's got, well, he's doing okay so far. It's not a particularly nice flop for Name Exists or Sods. But it's a nice, not a bad flop for Paul 8 Ball, especially when it's been checked round. And he's asking a question. He's made it 3, and they can't call there. That's a pretty nasty flop with a king and a jack on there. If there was just a jack on its own, then you could say that maybe my 5s is okay. Well, Crip has a nice hand now. He won't be throwing this away. And he decided to come in with a small raise. 150, about right. Don't mind that play at all. Will he want to call out of position with ace-2 suited? Personally, I think it's just worth throwing away, and he does the right thing. He's out of position, doesn't really want to call. He's not going to hit a flush often enough, and even when he does hit, he's probably not going to get paid off. So
He just didn't have a strong enough kicker there.
No, it was a weak hand, yeah. He doesn't really need to get involved with that hand. And even if it makes a straight, I mean, what kind of straight is it going to make? A 3, 4, 5 on the board? You know, how good is your straight? It's only the bottom part you can ever make. So it's not a particularly good one.
Yeah, and the fact he was going to have to be first to act.
Exactly, he's going to be first to act. It means he's going to he's going to have to throw a lot of darts in the dark and hope
Yes.
that, you know, some of them stick. So you don't want to be playing poker that way. You don't want to be just playing blind poker, not knowing what's really happening around you. You want to try and use the information that's given to you. And when you're first to act on the flop, you don't really have any information.
No.
All you've got is the betting that's happened on the previous round, which doesn't tell you very much. So a pair of sevens here against a pair of jacks. Now, what's Crip going to do?
Put some little raise.
Oh, crafty there from Nick. He's trying to disguise his jacks.
He still is.
No, he's probably not sure. He wants to see if Crip puts out a bet here, and he does. He probably just called that. Yeah, he's now gone into check calling mode, and I don't blame the play. Yeah, he wasn't sure whether Crip had an ace, so he just decided I'm going to switch off, and I'll call some little small bets.
If he puts in anything huge, he probably would have put it down, thinking that Crip had the ace there. But because they were just small bets, he thought it was worth staying till the end and having a look.
It's worth staying to the end. And what he doesn't want to do is leave himself open to being re-raised. So that's the other thing. He doesn't want to put in a bet and then he comes over the top and he has to now throw it away. He just wants to cap it. He's happy just to call, which he's done the right thing. So Crip with a 5-6 suited. What's he going to do with this? It's a nice little interesting hand he's got here. And he's in a decent position. He's on the cutoff. He's now going to be last to act. Oh, this could be curtains. Because Morrison has hit a monster. He's got bottom pair with an inside straight draw and a royal flush draw. So King of Hearts will give Morrison the royal flush. Don't think we've seen a royal flush here on Poker Night Live before.
I have never seen one.
So he's got his answer, Crip, and he decides to fold. And that's a good fold by Crip. Very good fold.
Because he could have walked into all sorts of trouble there.
Yeah, and the good thing about it for Crip's point of view, he played that pretty well because he probably thinking, damn, I should have just checked and got a free card to see if I can make my flush.
Yeah.
But he really didn't want to make his flush there, did he? Because he was going to be quite far behind, say the least.
Especially if it was the King of Hearts which came down.
So fortunately for him, he didn't make it. Well, that's not a bad flop for a pair of three, so Snap-It might be tempted to put a little bet out here, and I don't blame him if he does.
He's going to get caught.
Yeah, he's going to probably put... that's a little bit on the heavy side. I think a bet of three would have probably done it, Snap-It. And he's just called. Oh, very crafty. Very crafty indeed. And Snap-It won't like that queen up there, but he's thinking that maybe he's on a draw of some kind. You're thinking, well, maybe you're on a diamond draw. Maybe that's why you're calling me. And Snap-It, well, difficult one for Snap-It. He's thinking, Bust, did you just miss your diamond draw? Yeah, he does. He called him. Yeah, I think probably the right thing there with a pair of threes is the guy's calling you. If he's happened to miss his draw and making a bet, then you've got to just say, okay, I've missed. But I think the trick there, the thing that you should have noticed there, Snap-It, was the bet. What kind of bet was that? The bet was something like $4.50 into about $11, I think it was, $11, $12. It's just really saying that he wants you to call, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's really saying, please call me, you know. So, whereas if he had nothing, he'd probably make it a bit bigger.
Yes.
So that's the thing.
But some good play there?
Yeah, some interesting play. I think Snap-It just didn't believe him. I think he felt that he's maybe on a busted draw, and that's why he was calling him.
And what about Pool 8 Ball? We seem to see him getting involved in lots of pots.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, you know, you can play, I mean, that's a little bit too loose sometimes, so you do have to be careful. When you're playing a lot of hands, it does mean that you can sometimes get yourself into a lot of trouble as well. So you do have to be aware, and you have to be very focused as well, because you're playing so many hands. So.
Yeah. OK, well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have a little bit more of our MTT. Also, we'll get some of your emails as well. I'm going to be playing in the Beat the Presenter tournament, which we'll watch back at midnight.
We will.
So that'll be interesting to see what Mark's got to say about my play. So stick around, and we'll see you after this break. not telling you what I'm doing. I'm not giving anything away. I'm not giving anything away.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do the intro then, shall I?
Okay,
Welcome back to Poker Night Live with myself, Mark Prince Charles Banin, and the ever-present Lyndsay. Now, you're playing in a Beat the Presenter tourney, aren't you?
I am. And already the chat in the chat box is colourful as ever.
Is
Mark's
it? Okay.
Mark's been having a little look.
Yes, it is very colourful. And I think Mr. Double Top is donating to that colourfulness, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Okay, you behave, DT. Anyway, before the break, we were watching a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. So I think it's time we head back there. No, in fact, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to head over to a $2 sit and go. So some variety for you guys out there. Okay, now this is a $2 sit and go. It's going to be the same game that Lyndsay's playing, although for different stakes. This particular one, everyone starts off with 1,000 chips, and like a normal sit and go, like a tournament, it's last man standing. All you do is you grab all the $2, put them into a prize pool, creating a prize pool of $16. First prize will get $8. Second prize will get $5, and third prize will get $3. So ace 10 there for Jim. Didn't want to bet there. And Eat My Ace is... shame he didn't put out a bet here. I feel that he should have done, really. He got enough evidence there to suggest that no one's got a king or a jack, otherwise someone would have put some kind of bet. And look at that. Jonah knows that this is the only way he can win this pot. He's last in the list at the moment, behind everyone. And just shows you, he's actually saying, I've got part of this. And Jim can't really call here with an inside straight draw. Now, Eat My Ace, what's he going to do? Has he decided that... no, he decided that he's beat. And the only one that's calling is the 5-7. And the 5-7, if he sticks around, he's going to win. No, he doesn't. Well, that was well read there by Jonah. Very good play there. A bit kamikaze, because that's the kind of thing that Keep Right On might have just been doing with a jack in his hand. Sorry, a king in his hand. So he might have just called there, hoping to get a bet out of it. But anyway, he didn't have one, so he read it well and picks up those chips. Nice play. Don't like the call there, I must admit. I don't like the call there from Keep Right On. Because when the board is paired like that, you just don't want to call for a flush draw, especially a 7 high flush draw. You could be beaten by someone with a bigger flush, or you could be beaten by someone who's actually got a full house or quads. So when that board is paired like that, you want to keep away from flush draws, apart from maybe the ace high flush draw at best. But even then, you do have to be a little bit careful.
Apparently I was very unlucky the other night, Mark, coming second to Johan, someone obviously using my account. That's terrible, because it wasn't me. I wish I could come second in these games. I'd be very happy with that.
Tonight's the night, Lynn. You're going to do it tonight. You're going to come first, in fact.
I'm not going to get my hopes up.
I tell you what, Lynn, let's just swap places. I'll do it.
Yeah,
and we'll just pretend.
You can do it for me and pretend it's me.
Okay, you can turn the mics back up now. Right.
Great play, Mark. Great play. Oh, are we back on?
So King Queen for Jim Flynn. What's he going to do? He's in early position. Probably I'd throw it away in this situation. No point getting too involved. He's got so many players behind him. He's got all 7 players still to act. This is the disaster that beholds a King Queen. He's got someone who's got a terrible hand next to him. Queen 6 is called. And this is the problem, you see. Now he's got King Queen, he's got the best hand. By the looks of it, has he? Yep, no one's got a jack, no one's got an 8. So, and the guy who's got no hand is betting like a lunatic. Wow. That was a very aggressive play there by Pandy. Very risky play, because obviously anyone with an 8 is going to call him. And probably someone with a jack too. And he was betting into so many players. That was very, very risky. And unfortunately, that move will work all but once. So you do have to be careful when you do a move like that. Well, a pair of 6s is making a play here. Made it 120. And we know that Pandy Arnie doesn't like to fold. And, well, we might see one of his plays again. He's got an inside straight draw, so he's not drawing dead. Oh, he's just hit it. He just made the straight, and Yona can't win this pot now, no matter what card comes on the end. And he bet it. Wow. 8-5 suited for Pandy. You know he likes that, those hands. In fact, there's not too many cards he doesn't like, really, is there? Jim Flynn on the button. What's he going to do? And he's played this the right way, I think. This is certainly the preferable way of playing 8. If you are going to play Ace-3, is to play it in that fashion. For the simple reason that you just don't want to be worrying about someone holding Ace-Jack, Ace-Queen, because hopefully now, if Smidsy did have a hand like that, he would be raising. Now, Smidsy is actually called under the gun with King 3, and I don't really understand that call. There's no cards there that you can particularly like. Unless the board comes King, King 3 or something. You know, I don't really understand why you'd want to call with King 3. It's a very poor hand in the rankings. And the problem is, it doesn't have many prospects. I'd much rather call with a hand like 5-6 than King 3. At least you know where you stand with that hand. With King 3, you hit a king on that board, you just don't know where you are. You don't know whether you've got the best hand or you've got the second best hand. And of course, you've got the second best hand, it also means that you're likely to pay the guy off. Now, this is interesting because Jim Flynn, who was the original raiser, has come out betting. He's got top pair, but he can't be over-enthused with that board. And Smidsy, who's got just second pair, decides to call him. Wow. Now, Keno probably thinks that his ace is no good anymore. He might well fold this. No, he decides to call. Well, so far, Keno is winning. He's got aces, king, queen, 7. So what Jim Flynn needs now is a 3 to appear, or, wow, or something higher than a 7. Something higher than a 7 will split the pot. There's no hand, apart from another king, that can help Smidsy. He needs to see another king appear. A 3 won't help because Jim has got the 3 covered. And, well, Keno call. Well, he's called out a position with a weak ace. How much does he like it? And he has elected to call, and there's no saving grace for Jim. That 7 does play, so it means all the money will go into Keno's hand. His board was ace, pair of aces, king, queen, 7, and that was no good for Jim. Nearly got him to fold by the looks of it, but he didn't. So Jim Flynn is in intensive care. The respirators are on him. And they've just called the morgue. Now, Smidsy probably wants to isolate here, and he's done the right thing. And what I mean by isolate is if you want to try and raise to get rid of some of the players, unfortunately, no one likes to fold here, so he hasn't managed to get rid of anyone, apart from guy in seat 3, Bob. So he decided, I've got the best hand here. I'm pretty sure I have. If you happen to have Jack 10, then that's just bad luck. I can't imagine you'd be there with 10-5. So 2 pair for Smithy. He's happy with that. And that's going to take the deuce. So a nice play there from Smithy. Done the right thing. Don't like the king 3 earlier though, Smithy. I must tell you, that was not a nice hand to play. It's only going to get you in lots of trouble, as you saw. So Smithy, well, he liked king 3 from under the gun. Ah, maybe he's listening. Doesn't like king 5 on the button. And that's possibly because he just won a nice pot. He thinks, I'll take a little rest now. I won a nice pot. Why do I need to get involved? Don't blame you, Smithy. Exactly. Why do you need to get involved with king 5? Well, king Jack, playing it very craftily. And he's just lucky that I don't like the continuous checking there. I don't mind slow playing every now and again, but not slow playing a hand like that. It's vulnerable. It wasn't a particularly strong hand. It is top pair, and you might want to slow play it once, but not continuously. Well, this is an interesting situation. We've got king queen suited against ace jack. They both picked up a draw, although not a particularly good draw for Bob. He needs a lot to happen for that to change around, but let's see. Well, he sensed weakness from the others. The only problem is that's a pretty weak bet, and that's the problem, Bob. If you don't bet it strongly, that's what happens. You really want to bet it a little more aggressively. 80 into... Well, it's worked out okay. And now the problem is Bob can't call, I don't think. Going to find it hard to make a call on this one. Yeah, and he doesn't. And Yona, once again, reads the situation perfectly. That was some lovely play. We've seen a couple of very nice plays from Yona. He seems to understand when people don't have something and when they do. That's excellent stuff. The only thing I will say is just got to be careful you don't get a little bit carried away with it. So this, we could see, I think it would be an interesting game, wouldn't it, if it was went heads up between Smithy and Yona. It's quite possible, but the two guys with the most chips at the moment, but anything can change around. As the blinds increase very quickly, anything can happen. So the beautiful 7-8 offsuit for Bob. He didn't want to take advantage of an unscary board, but that's just improved for Keno now. And he's hit top pair. He's just probably deciding a check call. I'd put a little bet out, would he? Little value bet. He does. Hoping that someone's hit a 3 or a 4 and thinking that Keno's bluffing, and he couldn't get any more out of them. He tried it, and that was the right move. I think anyone with a 9 would have bet by that point. So Yona picks up a real hand this time, ace-king. And he's got good position because Pandy won't play this. And I don't think Smithy will play this, not for an extra 120. He might do though, he's got the chips, but I wouldn't. I would just prefer to throw it away. Yeah, he does the right thing. If I'm playing in a multi-table tournament, then I might be more tempted to call, but not in a sit-and-go. So Queen 5, top pair for Eat My Ace, and only a set for Keno. And, well, did I see Eat My Ace fold? He made a very good fold there. Looked like he folded. I think he did. Well, Pandy decides to push, and Keno says, I don't mind raising with ace-jack, I certainly don't want to call with it, and I don't blame you. That was an okay fold there by Keno. Doesn't want to commit most of his chips on the ace-jack call. So, 2 pair for Pandy. He's slow playing it. Don't really like slow playing that situation. Too many straight draws, too many flush draws for potentials out there. We can see that no one's happened to have any of them, but he's not to know that. And the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a predicament where your hand is vulnerable. It's vulnerable to a heart, it's vulnerable to a jack, a queen, an ace, or a 9. So you really want to just, and unfortunately you don't make full houses out of 2 pairs very often. 1 in 10 of the odds for hitting it on the very next card. Sorry, 1 in 11, actually 10 to 1. So, Jonah takes that one down. Yeah, the best hand. Nice and simple, really. Well, trip 9s for Smidsy. He's going to like that. And he won't mind slow playing this a little bit. He's going to be a little bit worried about the hearts, that's the only thing. But the straight is a little less likely because he's got that 8, which means that one of those straight cards is missing. Now he won't like that anymore, and he's now got to start betting, and betting a decent amount. He doesn't want another heart to appear. He does. He's made it 160, and I think that's fine. And everyone's folded, so well done. Not a lot you can really do there, I think. The only thing is with a set of 9s like that, you probably want to put out a little bet on the flop, I guess, because there are a lot of players against you, plus you've got a potential heart draw and an unlikely straight draw against you. So it might have been worth just a little bet, just to thin the field that little touch. Although, having said all that, you would have just thinned them all at that point. But sometimes you can only win small pots with these big hands. Well, ace queen for Smids, and oh, this could be dangerous because Keno has hit his set. Well, Eat My Ace has just hit himself a nice little hand. He's got a flush, but he's also got a 6 of diamonds, giving him the straight flush. Another hand we don't often see. But look at this. Keno's got a set of 3s. Oh, this could be curtains for Keno. And Eat My Ace is going to win this. Yeah, he decides. And Keno's not going to believe him. Ace queen for Jonah, and that's looking pretty good at this stage. Can't see much there that's going to trouble him. Keno might go on tilt here with his ace 5. Oh, this could be trouble for Keno. He's hit his ace, and he thinks he's slow playing it, but Jonah is really slow playing it now. And he should be putting out a bet here, Jonah. He doesn't want to be playing this. It's not that strong a hand. It looks very nice, but it's only a pair at the end of the day. He's just lucky there's no flush draws, but there is this horrible little straight draw developing. And he's going to take this one down with a queen kicker. Aces and sevens with a queen is big enough. And Keno, unfortunately, he was using the board kicker to play for him, the 10. So aces and sevens with a 10. Well, interesting hand again developing. Ace-jack against a pair of threes. Well, this is interesting. So Bob's got the up and down straight draw with 2 overcards, which is always nice to have when you've got an up and down straight draw. You don't want the sucker end or the middle part. And Pandy is chasing. You see, this is the problem. Pandy's chasing the same straight draw. And if you miss, it means that Bob's going to take it with his high card. So he does. Bob takes it, and Pandy's in all sorts.
I'm back with you, Mark.
You're back?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
The Beat the Presenter game is over.
All right.
And of course, we'll have a look after midnight.
Okay, we shall see. We shall see after midnight. Well, Bob has got a pretty nice hand. He's thinking, what can I do here? Flat call, raise. Oh, it's just got even better. He's praying now that a 10 comes, and so he's eat my ace. Oh, look at that. It's improved a little bit. Queen's full of jacks. He probably just would have preferred that queen on the end not to appear, but it doesn't make any difference. Eat my ace is wondering whether his king is any good. Jacks and queens with a king, but we can see it's miles from being any good.
So where are we at, Mark?
Well, we're watching a sit and go, and in this particular sit and go...
There seems to be quite a few gone for the blinds to be just 40-80.
Yeah, they've been playing a little bit wild. This is a $2 sit and go, I believe, so they have been playing a little aggressively. Been calling with certain hands that he shouldn't be calling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So overall it's not been too bad, though. There's only been 1 or 2 loose plays. We've got Jonah who's been playing a good game. And Smitty made 1 or 2 funny calls, but seems to be playing a pretty good game overall. Must admit, I do like the way Jonah's been playing, though. He's been playing... he seems to have a very good read and understanding where he's at on these boards. And he's even managed to elicit a call from Smitty with nothing but ace high. And this time, Jonah did have the goods. So he's getting calls when he's got the goods, and when he hasn't got the goods, he's getting them to fold. So he seems to be doing a lot of things right, Jonah. Never seen him before, so not that I can recall.
No, I haven't.
So yeah, it's good.
Although, when I was saying before how somebody said that I was playing the other night, well done, you came second. They said you came second to Jonah.
Ah, maybe it was... Or was it Johan, you said?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Was it Jonah? Or maybe it was Jonah. Could have been. But who knows?
Been, yeah, it could have been.
Bob's been playing a pretty solid game as well. It seems to be doing nothing too wrong, and he's in a strong position with 2,300 chips. And for those guys wanting to know about the Beat the Presenter, it's going to be aired 12 o'clock. So if you stick around after our next break, that's when we'll see whether Lyndsay gets out first or...
I don't think you've commentated on one of my Beat the Presenters yet.
I haven't, no, I haven't, no.
So it'll be interesting to see what you have to say.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
Hope it's not a short one, Lynn.
So do I. I'm not giving anything away.
Okay.
You know what these games are like, though? They're fast and furious anyway, aren't they? So
Yeah, they can be. They can be.
no, I'll be interested to see what you have to say. There's a few things actually that I'd like to ask you as well. There's always certain things that you do and you're not quite sure if you're doing the right thing, so it's great to have the opportunity to be able to watch it back hand for hand. And
Oh, of course, yeah, you can pick up so much from doing
Yes,
that.
yeah.
And really the guys on here, if you are playing and you are watching, it's such a good learning tool to actually watch your play, and the good thing about it is watch everyone's cards, what they did have,
yes,
and watch someone commentating on it. I
Yeah.
mean, really, if people should be crowding themselves to
Yeah.
get on these tables.
to pick every hand apart, hand by hand, is brilliant. You learn so much, I think.
Oh, it's an invaluable tool, yeah. I mean, people, if anyone's playing and they're watching themselves on TV, they should be, that button on the record should be firmly pressed.
Yes, yeah.
They'll learn a hell of a lot by just watching. They'll learn more by watching 2 or 3 games of them doing that than they will in maybe 3 months
Yes.
of just regular playing.
I felt that since we started the Beat the Presenter thing, actually. I think it's been good for us girls to be able to play on the amateur night and have our game sort of picked apart, really.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
Of course. Well, this is going to be interesting. Smidsy's got the worst of it. It's likely to be a split pot, though. All they need is for a bigger card than a 7 to appear, as long as there isn't a 7. And Smidsy might think that his 3 is good here. He hasn't got a particularly good kicker, that's the only thing. And there's no potential draw there, so I don't mind the fold by Smidsy. He's thinking, well, what's he going all in with? It's either better 3 than mine, or it is a 10. They can't see what draw it could be. So, or it's a better pair. So obviously a pocket pair. So I think he did the right thing, Smidsy. The likelihood is, though, if he did call, then it's almost certainly going to be a split pot.
Raises with his ace-jack. But, don't think my ace is going to want to call. Oh, he does.
He does, yeah. That's a very loose call, and he's doesn't really need to give away 3 or 400. Oh, he's hit a 4 in the end. So he's got out a jowl there, eat my ace, but it wasn't a particularly good call. No. He didn't want to give away about a quarter of his stack in that situation, and that's really what happened. Yeah, but he took a view of it, that he's got some equity in the guy, knocking the guy out and getting straight into the money. So I can understand it from that point of view. Actually, when I think about it, it's a bit of a tight decision, but Jack 4 just isn't the sort of hand I really want to call with. Having said that, there are certain other hands that I'd probably call with, but not Jack 4, I don't think. Still, he's called, he's won. No point brooding about it. Next player out will get $3. That's for third place, $5 for second, and $8 for third. Well, King Queen against King 10. No 10 appears, so it means the King Queen will play, and Yona goes from strength to strength. He's in a very good position here. He's got lots of chips. He doesn't want to include a bet with 10-4. Well, inside, up and down straight draw for Smidsy. He really wants, he really wants to bet this if he's going to do anything. And the reason being is that you don't want to call for it for the simple reason that you could be in a lot of trouble. It's much better to bet, win it there, or get re-raised and throw it away.
Right.
Because paired boards with a flush, potential flush draw as well on there, are not good drawing situations. You really should have bet it and just got rid of Eat My Ace.
So it's hoping that you'll push him off it, but if he then re-raises
then you just throw it away.
Fold it. Okay.
Yeah, because, like I said, you don't want to be calling with 2 clubs on the board and also a paired board already. You don't want to start getting involved. Hit their flush and you hit your straight.
Flush and then it's going to be very expensive.
It's going to knock you out, yeah. In that situation, it's going to knock you out. And someone could already have him beat. He could already be up against quads. He could already be up against a full house.
Yeah.
We know that's unlikely, but it could happen, and it will happen every now and again. I can promise you. Well, the King 8 needs a bit of luck, and he's got it. And just to put the final nail in, that he hammers that one home. So well done to Jonah, and well done to Smithy. I thought he played a good game overall as well, Smithy. Made one or two interesting calls in early position with King 3, I remember one of them.
Yeah.
But
deserved to be in the money.
Yeah, I thought he played pretty well after that. Well, Eat My Ace has become Mr. Aggressive now. And he doesn't want to get involved with that hand, and Jonah wipes the sweat from his brow because he had a particularly bad hand too. And it looked like his 6-10. He might come out betting, no, he doesn't. And Jonah has gone quiet all of a sudden. Interesting. He was making some good plays earlier on, but he seems to have lost his rhythm slightly. And
it's the wrong time to lose your rhythm when you get to heads up. You have to be very confident and quite aggressive at this
he might have
stage.
just felt that he was behind on that particular hand and didn't want to get involved. But it just seems before that every hand he played, he seemed to know where he stood in the hand, one way or the other, whether it was negative or positive. Oh, look, he better hope he doesn't get called here. And he's lucky, very lucky. And Eat My Ace had a great chance to double up. But I can't blame him for not calling with King 4. It's a pretty horrible hand.
Even heads up.
King 4, you don't want to be calling for all your money with King 4, really. You don't mind making the move with it.
Right, and hope.
And hope, but you don't want to be calling. Because, even against a hand like 9-5, you're not a particularly big favourite. You're only a small favourite, 56%, something like that.
It's quite easy when your head's up to get a bit carried away with having a high card.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's right to be, especially in these, you've got to push. When the blinds are high like they are now, you need to push. Now, Eat My Ace is wondering whether he should, are we going to see Jonah? No, he's let him off the hook here. And Jonah's got to make a decision. He does decide. He decides that his 7 is good. He's let Eat My Ace bluff at it. Eat My Ace has said, oh dear, can I fold? I can't. I need to hit a jack. It's not as bad as he thought. He thought that the other guy had a queen, but he doesn't. He thought, if you've got a queen, I've absolutely had it. And, well, a worthy winner, I feel.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he played a very good game.
Seemed to have good reads on everybody.
He did. His timing was immaculate. Yeah, he very rarely put his chips in when he was behind, and when he did, he managed to get them to fold. So he would put his chips in at times when he thought he could get them to fold, and he managed to do just that, so very good.
Well done. Good tournament. I'm going to squeeze in a couple of emails now. Mr. Perfect, we were talking about rebuys earlier on, because obviously the MTT we're looking at tonight is a rebuy, and we asked people to send in their comments about how they play rebuys, whether they like them, whether they hate them. Mr. Perfect says, hi Lyndsay and Mark, I'd just like to add my thoughts to how I play rebuys. I try to enter into the spirit of a rebuy and loosen up a bit more than I normally would, because I'm more worried about playing on a tight table than a loose one. On a tight table, the average chip size could be around 3,000 after the rebuy period, and on a loose one, it could be 10,000, leaving everyone at your table short stacked. And he says, I watch your show every night and have learned so much more than I ever could reading a book, so keep up the good work. Yeah, that is something you've got, that is something that can be a little bit problematic. If you've got an exceptionally tight table, it is very, very hard. It's going to be very hard to win that tournament. For the simple reason that what happens is that everyone on your table is playing tight. There are some other tables that are playing particularly loose, and all that happens is that all the other tables have got lots of chips between them, and the moment the rebuy period is over, you've got no chips, and you start the tables get cut down, and subsequently what happens is you end up moving to a table where you might have even been chip leader, and you move to a table with huge stacks. And the problem being is that when you've got no chips, it's going to be very, very hard all of a sudden. So that is a problem in rebuy tournaments. But generally, in the smaller rebuys, you tend to find that it's not too bad. Tomo has sent an email in, and Tomo says, I've just come fourth in a $3 turbo MTT with 71 runners, and it was also a bounty tourney. This is only my second final table, with the other being third in an Omaha pot limit MTT. But by the time it got to the final six, it was a six-seater, I had not enough chips to play properly, having either to go all in or fold. Have you got any advice for making more chips throughout the whole tourney?
Okay. Is he referring to the pot limit one, or is he referring to the other one?
I think he's referring to the first one. He came fourth. It was the $3 turbo, 71 runners.
Right.
But by the time he got to the final table, he didn't feel he had enough chips to play play properly.
Well, the key there is picking a moment when to be creative. And that moment is a moment that is most uncomfortable for a lot of players. It is usually around the stage when, in a table, let's say there's 71 runners, let's say there's 9 places getting paid, then that moment is usually around when there's around 20 people left. Because when there's around 20 people left, that's when it gets uncomfortable, because you can see the finishing line, you can see that final table appearing. The only problem being is that you don't want to lose your chips and you don't want to get too creative. So what happens is a lot of players, they start tightening up in order to make that final, and of course all that happens is they do make the final, but they make it with no chips.
Yes,
and that happens quite a lot. So really what it means is that you've got to be a little more looser, just a touch, when there are 20 players left. And when I say looser, it means use 1 or 2 more starting hands than you normally would. However, the most key thing is actually do it. Do it when you're actually in position. That's the thing.
Right.
So,
in late position.
Yeah, in late position. You don't want to do. You'd rather play something like Jack 8 from late position than really something like King Jack from early position.
Okay.
That's very important.
Okay, but thank you for your email, Tomo. We're going to head over to our MTT now and see how things are looking over there.
Okay.
We will bring it to you very soon. We promise it is a $10 MTT. 1 rebuy and 1 add-on.
Okay.
Isn't it?
It is indeed.
Got the chip leader on this table, Mark, apparently. Crash there. No. 24 Ginger. Crash not too far behind him, though.
Yeah, a couple of big chip stacks. And Stanter's one of our regular players who's on there. I got mixed up with Stanter's the other day. I told him he was from Los Angeles. He wasn't. He was somewhere in the UK. So, Stanter's a regular. The Hacks man is playing too.
There's 30 players left now, Mark. We started with 94.
Yeah.
And 24 Ginger is in the lead, though Crash Flux has taken over slightly, though only if Mr. Ginger loses this pot.
Well, this is interesting for Dazzy B. Does he want to put in 1,600 extra chips? And he decided, no, I don't want to do that. I want to put in a whole bunch more. Now, I don't think this is folding for 24 Ginger. He's got a pretty nice hand. It's going to cost him another 6,000. He can afford it.
He's got a big stack. Oh,
well, he does. That's very tight. Yeah, I think he just wanted to maintain his stack. Didn't want to be in a race, although.
Maybe a missed opportunity there to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for us to see because we can see. I think perhaps he thought, OK, I'm up against either a bigger pair or I'm up against 2 overcards. Do I want to be in a race for a third of my stack for that? So I can sort of understand.
Yeah.
But you see, he's going to look at it also from the point of view that, hold on a sec, I'm on the button, I'm making this bet. It could look like I'm making a steal here.
Right.
And Dazzy might think I'm making a steal here and decide to come over the top with something that's not quite so good.
Right.
So you've got to factor that in, and a lot of players don't. They just look at their hands. OK, I've got a pair of 10s. What's he likely to have? Yeah. But they don't
You've got to think about what your bet looks like to the other person.
Exactly.
What is he thinking? What does he think you've got? It's just as important.
You've got to put yourself in that situation. To him, it looks like a button steal.
Yes. And it's not just thinking about what you think he's holding. You've got to think, what is he thinking I'm holding as well?
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, sometimes you can get a little bit bogged down in that.
Yeah.
I think you can just break it down by being, simple. A lot of people sort of go backwards and forwards. about, with something like that. But you don't really want to get too bogged down with what's he thinking that I'm thinking that he's thinking that I'm thinking. Otherwise you do get a little bit too bogged down.
You all end up getting so confused that you stop thinking.
Yeah, it just takes it to, before you know it, you're not thinking at all. So really just say, look, it looks like it could be a button still. Yeah, that's why he's probably gone over the top. That is a thing you've got to factor into the equation.
Yes.
And let's face it, you've got, a pretty good starting hand. Tens is the 5th best starting hand in poker.
Yeah.
So unless he's got one of the top 4, you're in a situation where the blinds weren't that crippling for you. Even if he happened to lose that hand, he still would have had about 13,000 odd. I
think he didn't want to lose his lead. He's that far ahead.
Yeah, but I think
slightly overcautious.
I think so, personally. Yeah, I don't think I would have laid him down personally. And you've got to appreciate it, even if he is up against Ace King or something like that, there will come a time where he's going to have to take that chance.
Yeah.
And it's better to take that chance against a smaller stack.
But he wouldn't be that far behind going up against Ace King.
Well, he's ahead.
He's ahead.
He's got the
ready-made hand, so the Ace King's going to have to hit something.
And that's assuming that Dazzy B has got an Ace King, of course. He could have made that move with Ace 8, thinking that he's got, and in fact he was in a lot worse position than that because he actually had an underpair, which is 4-1. In other words, only 20% of the time will Dazzy B win with a pair of 7s against a pair of 10s. So, he was in a predicament.
Yeah.
So there will come a time where you've got to make that move and accept, and you really want to do it against people that... Now, see, the problem here now, look at that, Dazzy B has almost got himself up. He's now within a very short distance to 24 Ginger.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see whether he misses that opportunity, 24 Ginger, but he's just now doubled Dazzy B's stack to making himself 24,000 compared to Dazzy B's 12. So it's looking pretty good for him so far.
Folders round to the Ace Queen. No one else had anything.
I think the cut-off there, incidentally, for 24 Gingers listening to this, I think the cut-off would have been, had it have committed him to more than 50% of his stack,
right,
then it was a bit more of a...
Too much of a chance.
Potentially, possibly. I'd have to, you'd have to be in that situation and give it a bit more thought. But that would potentially be a situation where you say, OK, well, that might be a bit too much.
Right.
But certainly not a third of your stack. And especially as a third of a stack with the blinds at 2-4, which they were at the time, meant that he's still got over 30 times the big blind.
Yeah.
So
it's not going to put him in a situation where he's quite short stacked. He's still got plenty of play left, even if he did lose the pot.
Yeah, absolutely. But if it meant making him come down to about 9,000 or something like that, he might have said, OK, well, that's just too much. I don't want to lose most of my stack or half of my stack or more on that hand. So that would be fair enough in that situation. But I think the price was right for that one. And that's the thing you've got to ask yourself. Is the price right? And the price was right. He was getting good odds. He's only losing to an overpair. And there's only 4 overpairs bigger. So Dazzy B's picked up an inside straight draw. And he doesn't want to hit it. Oh, look at that. That is a strong play with the Queen 2. Now, I always wonder whether Chelsea is going to follow this through. I've got a sneaky feeling that he's hoping that Dazzy B calls and then he makes his move on the river.
Dazzy B makes his move on the river?
No, Chelsea.
Right.
I thought that what would happen is that Dazzy B will call, makes his move on the turn rather, and then Dazzy B will call, check the flop, check the next card, and then go all in. Chelsea will go all in on the turn. That's probably what would have happened, but we shall never know.
Yes, we won't find out.
So Ace-7 against Ace-10, doesn't want to know, don't blame him.
And there we go, Stanton takes that pot. We're going to leave the MTT there. We will come back to it a bit later on, though. I'm just going to get a couple of emails in before the break. Chris Brown has sent an email. Evening all, I'm from Nottingham and I've been playing for about a year online, and after hearing TK talk about the gala in Nottingham, I decided to go down for the £10 buy-in with 3 rebuys. Tony, I was nervous the first time I played, but I really enjoyed the experience, so I went back the week after and got to the final table. Well done. The following week, I did the same and finished third on a chip count as the tourney finished at 2 a.m. from a 7:30 start. On both occasions, I won over £500, which was great for me. The only thing that took the shine of the night was that at 2 o'clock, there were cash games going on all around. Surely the three of us could have played to a finish instead of having to stop at 2 o'clock and being awarded it on a chip count. I just wanted your thoughts on this matter. Great show, thanks for the tips. And that's from Chris in Nottingham. And he says, since I've taken home £1,000 in the last week, the missus... to the missus, so I think that all the hours at the PC ain't such a bad thing after all. Surprise, surprise. Cheers again, great show. Well done for getting to the final table anyway. What do you make of that?
Well, they finish at 2 o'clock, yeah. I mean, the casinos sometimes do that because they need to tie up, release the dealers for the cash games or let them go home, you know, and they don't get such an, the reason they have the tournaments there is for the cash games. Yes. They make very little money out of the tournaments. Right. So the sooner they can get that over and done with, the better for them, basically.
They hope people will then move on to the cash table and start spending money there.
Yeah, that's really what their aim is. So they've decided, but I agree. I think 2 o'clock, from a 7:30 start is a little bit on the quick side. There's no reason why they can't extend it another hour or so, especially when you get so close. If you could see that, there was still 8 players left and it was going to be a while, then maybe. But let's face it, when there's only 3 players left, it's not going to last that long. Maybe another 15, 20 minutes. Yes. I think a bit of customer service could go in there and, let the players play it out for another 15, 20 minutes. So that's a good point, yeah.
Could have maybe used a little bit of logic and thought, if the chances are it was going to go on for a long time, but if it was only going to be another 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's unlikely to be long because usually in these kind of competitions, the blinds are quite high. In comparison to the chip stack, so there's no reason why they can't let them play on. It won't last that long.
Chris won, but I see what he means. It took the shine off it a little bit because he didn't know what would have happened if he had have played to the end, whether he would have won. So he didn't know.
For what it's worth, Chris, though, a lot of people, when you get down to 2 or 3-handed anyway, make deals of some kind because the blinds are high and the monies usually have a decent difference. So they usually make deals anyway. Very few tournaments nowadays get beyond that anyway. There's usually some kind of deal.
I know what you mean. So it's like, I suppose it's the same with a boxing match. It's always better when it's won by a knockout than it is by points.
Oh, listen to you. It's a bit violent, aren't you?
It's more satisfying.
What a violent person you are. Just in case.
Yeah, you move away. Richard has sent an email in, and Richard says about 6 weeks ago there was a royal flush in the first hand shown on that night. I think it was James and Michelle who were on. Moreover, there was another straight flush 20 minutes later and quad aces the same night. It never happens to us, does it, Mark?
No, you can imagine James, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
You can imagine James getting all excited.
You'd be like a child who's had too much Sunny Delight.
Wow, look at that, a royal flush.
I can imagine. I can imagine what he was like. Now, I don't know if I should read this out. We've got an email from Double Top, but it's about Beat the Presenter, but I don't know if I'd like to give any of it away.
No, let's leave that one till after, I think.
So, Double Top, don't worry, we've got your email, but we're going to leave it until after the break, but we will get to it because we can't say anything, okay? So we'll do it after Beat the Presenter, which is going to be shown when we come back after the break. But in the meantime, if you've got any questions or comments or stories to tell, we want to hear from you. We want your comments, so please do get in touch with us. You can send us a text, and there's the number 84222. Put the word poker at the start of your message. Or you can send us an email, and there's the email address. It's poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. The www. is, of course, our web address if you want to find more about the show and have a look at our forum. Great stuff on the forum. You can have a look, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. Now,
that was a bit of an exasperation there, .co.uk.
.uk, so there you go. There's all the details for you. Please do get in touch. We'll get some more of your questions and your comments when we come back after the break. And also, the Beat the Presenter game.
Oh, do we have a little jingle for that?
Yeah, that'll do. I'll be very, very interested to see what you have to say about my play, Mark.
Yeah, should be. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun.
Look forward to it. And I do want you to be brutally honest, so...
I will. Brutally.
So stick around. We'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. I'm Lyndsay, and I'm joined by Mark.
Yeah, and I'm Mark.
Prince Charles Banin. We're here with you till 2 o'clock watching lots of internet poker. And now we're not going to hang around. We're going to go straight to the Beat the Presenter tournament.
Straight to the tournament.
I played this in the last hour, so here it is. We're going to watch it back and see what Mark makes of my play.
So, young Lyndsay, you're in the top corner there. And starting off, this is the first hand. We're playing the shorter structure here, so this will be interesting to see. Bellar 5 with a raise with jacks, and we could have carnage here. We've got ace king against jacks against tens. Incredible.
Nice flop for the ace king.
Yeah, he's going to like that, and I don't mind the play, to be honest with you. Betting into two people, it's a bit of a vulnerable hand. It is two pair, and it is top two pair, but it's vulnerable to another picture card coming along, or in fact, any heart.
Got Eat My Ace there. He was in the tournament you were watching as well while I was playing.
Yeah. He gets around, doesn't he?
He does.
So a pair of tens reappear. This time Kev Steele's got them, and he decided that that board is a good board for a pair of tens, and it is. So less likely when there are two of those cards on there, it's less likely that someone's got it. Not impossible, of course, but it is less likely. So he decided, I'll put out a bet and see what happens. So Eat My Ace playing ace-2 suited. He decided to have a little look, and NW Steve, I'm just curious about this particular hand. He's building the pot with 8-9. I'm just curious as to why he'd want to do that. Now Eat My Ace has hit sort of a part. He was really hoping for some kind of flush draw. And curious play though by NWO Steve. I don't know why he sort of done that. If he wasn't going to bet on the flop, why actually do that? You know, I don't really understand. Okay, but maybe he was building the pot, hoping that he hits his straight draw and then he can get gives him pot odds. Perhaps that's what he was thinking. Anyway, we're on to Battle of the Blinds, and Kev Steele just gives it up, and I don't blame him. Nasty little hand. No point gambling away with that kind of hand there. So nothing much here for anyone. No. Lyndsay's got 8-10. Decides not to play. And we've got Battle of the Blinds again. And Bellar this time gives up his Queen 2. Eat My Ace. Very happy to win that with his 4-2. Happy to get a freebie. And, oh, you could be in trouble here, Lynn. Ace Queen against Ace King. Let's see what happens. What were you thinking here, Lynn?
I was thinking, it's first decent hand I'd had so far. I thought I'll put in a raise because I'm sort of in middle position. Put in a raise and see what happens.
Okay.
So either raise or fold with ace queen in that position. So
yeah, no, that's fair enough.
Ballard just calls.
And what would happen if you would have got re-raised there? Would you have kept going with it?
It would depend on how much.
Oh, look, that's worked out nicely for you.
Yes, that's quite nice.
So, what are you going to do here? Are you going to come out betting, or are you going to check raise it? You come out betting 80. Made it look a little bit of a weak bet.
That's even better.
Yeah, that's even better. And it's also better in a way for Bellar, because now he thinks, okay, you probably haven't got a queen. And your bet did look weak.
I just
so he now thinks he can take it off you. Very good play there, Lyndsay. Very nice. And that's not the card that Bellar wanted. In fact, there was no card there that he wanted to see, really. Especially, he didn't want to see the ace or the king. Although he would have been in a lot of trouble. And, well, Bellar's a non-believer. He thinks you're bluffing, Lynn. Ah. I can understand if I was doing that, and I could say, okay, that's possible. Less likely with the lady presenters are less likely to bluff,
and we are, I think, yes, we are. Although now you've said that, I might have to try it soon. It might work.
Yeah, well, it's certainly...
So was that quite a good little sneaky check on the turn?
Yeah, I thought you played it masterfully. Yeah, it was a nice little check on the turn. You looked weak with the initial bet when you hit the queen.
Yeah.
The first one. You looked weak. He called you thinking his ace-king is still probably good. And when the other queen thinks, he goes, oh, good. He goes, I know she hasn't got it now. And, of course, You did have it all the time. A little check there. It's also feigned weakness. And he put out a bet. No, he just flat called, didn't he? In fact, he checked at that turn. And then the river, you got a little bit more money out of him.
Got a little 100 out of him.
Yeah, so good start for you. And you played your ace queen very nicely. Did everything right. Right from the beginning to the end.
Well, that's a good start. So
Excellent start, yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you. Perfect start. Ballar's not thinking the same thing, though. It's not such a good start. Still, it's not irrecoverable.
He fell straight into the little weak lady trap.
into your web, which you wove. You have to watch these northern lasses. Very crafty they are.
That's very true.
I know, I spent some time in Manchester, so I know exactly. So Jay Freedom with the 8-9. He's seeing if he can make some kind of straight. He's out of position here, so will he want to risk another 60? I don't really like it myself. I'll probably just throw it away, yeah. Don't blame him for that.
I was hoping for a little cheap look with it.
Yeah, he was hoping for a cheap look. I don't mind being the raiser and getting called, but I don't really want to be the call after getting raised because it means that unless I hit my flop, I'm going to have to, bluff at it.
Yeah.
To win, and out of position, you don't really want to do that. It's like I said, it's like throwing darts in the dark. You just don't know where they're going to hit. You don't know where the board is. So Queen 10.
I'm not sure if I should have raised there, do you think, when everyone else had just called for 40?
I think it's okay to do what you did.
To have it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong there. I think I would like to see you put a bet out here if no one does. Or even on the King 5-5 board, I would have liked seeing you, because you've got that position.
Right,
You've seen that everyone is weak with a King 5-5 board. So why not? I think if anyone had a king, they would have probably bet by now. So, yeah, and he's taking it down. He's Eat My Ace has said, OK, well, you lot don't want it.
Yeah, so I could have taken the initiative there.
Yeah, I think that's what you could have done by using that position.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a big bet even. It could be a little bet, 60 or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you get called, OK, well, you had a little try.
At least it was only 60.
Yeah. There's only 60 into a pot of maybe, 40, it's about 160.
Yeah.
So no one can call you without, there's no possible draw there, so it's not like someone can call you with, I don't know, 6-7 because they want to try and hit a straight or something.
Yeah.
There's no straight possibilities. There was a possible flush opportunity, but that was it, so, yeah. But it's not the end of the world. It's not, sometimes those things can work for you, and sometimes someone could be sitting there with a 5 trapping. So.
But it's just sometimes, when you're in that position, it's worth just you being the one to put the bet in.
Yeah, I think so. But they're a bit more tricky, so I wouldn't worry about it too much, to be honest. I think, you didn't do anything really wrong. It's a play. When I say it's a sophisticated play, it's a sophisticated play only because sometimes it is worth doing in that situation, sometimes it's not. And it depends really on the texture of the board, on the players, on how people perceive you.
Right.
Yeah. So, people, I'm less likely to get away with it because people expect me to make that kind of play. So it's a little bit more risky for me to make it. So you've got to factor all these things in. Well, you've got queens here. Now, Eat My Ace is probably fancies his ace-jack, but it doesn't fancy it that much. Well done. Good fold there by Eat My Ace, yeah. You did the right thing there. Not because we can see it's queens, but for simply reason you could have ace-queen, you could have ace-king. He knows.
Now.
Well, you got now. Yeah, you have. Now, they might think, after a race here, they'd think, well, I'm getting fed up of this. She's bullying us. She pretends that she's all quiet and innocent, and then she comes out firing all the time. And nice bet there, 120. Early position of ace-king. Not a great hand, it's especially not too great when you're in early position, but it's got great now because you now got top pair, top kicker with a backdoor flush draw. And for those of you wondering what a backdoor flush draw is, it's when
you've
got
two
running cards to make your flush,
yeah.
In that case, you needed to hit another 2 clubs and you would have made the ace high flush, so yeah. So that was a nice hand for you. Nicely played. I think you've done the right thing in betting at it. I don't think you should have shown weakness there. Because you didn't have position.
Yeah.
So I think you've done the right thing.
And there's always the possibility that Steve could
You've
have
been learning
hit an
too
ace.
well, girl. You've been learning far too well.
I've had some not bad cards, though, so far as well, I have to admit.
Yeah, you've had a couple of nice situations, but you played them well as well. You've, you know, the ace-queen, I thought you played very nicely. You elicited a little bluff, and you also elicited a call at the end there from him. So, yeah, worked out nicely. 8-9, he's making a move here with it.
He seems to like playing his suited connectors, eat my ace.
Yeah, he seems to have been playing a few different hands, hasn't he? And certainly suited connectors. Personally, with a hand like that, I don't mind it either way. You can either call with it, or you can put a raise in, small raise, a medium raise. There's lots of ways of playing those kind of hands, because they're very versatile. You know, if you want to raise with it, then people won't expect you to have that kind of hand. If you want a flat call, it's quite hidden if you make a straight. You know, so it's got a lot of potential, those kind of hands. It's a nice little hand, that 8-9 suited. Would have been especially nice now, because he would have made that flush.
Yes, Kev has the flush draw.
Yeah, he can't be too keen on the 7 high flush, though. So I don't think he'll be looking to invest any more money in that. And Jay wants to close this down now. He's going to put out a bet, at least a pot-sized bet. Well, close enough, 100. And I don't mind the play. I think 80 to 100 would have been just about perfect. And he wants to ask a question if anyone's drawing to that flush, drawing to a queen high flush, and no one is, so he wins that one out without any battle whatsoever.
It wasn't worth Kev calling that 100 because his 7 was just not.
He doesn't know. That's exactly right.
If he had a higher diamond, like you said, a queen,
if
or
he had
maybe even a jack.
Yeah, a 10 he couldn't call with really in that situation. But if he had a jack or a queen, then he might say, okay, maybe it's worth chasing.
Okay.
But the problem is, you see, part of that problem is that he's invariably got to hit it on the turn. Mm-hmm. That's the only problem. And the reason I say that is because people, when they have an ace in their hand and there's an ace on the board, they feel powerful.
Yes.
And when they feel powerful like that, it means that they're not going to be scared when you call their bet.
Right.
All they're going to do is think, okay, I've got to get this guy off the hand, whatever hand he's drawing to. So, whereas if he's got something like Jack 10 and the flop is, I don't know, Jack 4-5, then it's a bit more of a worry. They're not so confident with a Jack in their hand, so they might give you a free card on the turn.
Yeah.
Whereas someone with an ace in their hand, less likely to get a free card, which means you're only going to get to see one card without having to fork out a whole load of money more.
They're going to come out betting, and
they're going to come out betting. So it means unless you make it by the turn, that's it. So it's something to bear in mind for the future. But he played this pretty perfectly so far. I haven't seen you put a foot wrong.
So far, the magic words. We've got 2 big slicks, another ace out, so there's only 1 ace left.
Yeah, slight advantage for up your ante, who's got... there's no advantage now, it's
they both are going to think that they're sitting pretty.
Yeah, well, he's all in Tomo anyway, so no card is going to make either one of them a flush, and that's the only way you can win when you've both got the same hand. One of you has to make a flush. That's the only thing that deciphers. And it didn't happen, so... So, Eat My Ace has... Ace-Jack. He decided double. He's not that confident. You can see he's not that confident with his ace-jack. It's because he's got 4 people behind him. So he wants to see what's the reaction. Now, is he going to carry on with a continuation bet? He is. He does, and that's a nice bet. I like that play because he's not comfortable with it, but he's decided that I need to win this pot. There's enough money in there. There's 400 in this pot.
Yeah. And
the only way I'm going to win this pot for sure is bet. I have to bet because if I don't bet, you can bank your life on it. Tomo's going to bet. Yeah. And now I've definitely got no chance because I don't know if he's got a hand or not.
He doesn't know where he is unless...
Exactly. So he says he's basically done the right thing. He's bet, and he's done it with something that means something. 160, 80 would have been too small.
Yeah.
300 or 400 would have committed him to the pot, so he doesn't want to do that. He's made it 160, which is exactly the right price. And he said, if you've got it, then okay, I'll have to give it up.
Yes.
But
and he had lots of outs even if he did get called, because
he could have had an inside straight draw. That's right.
Straight
Yeah.
as well, and
Plus one overcard. Yeah.
If
Well, two overcards in fact, but the jack.
Ace jack.
Yeah. The only problem is that with king and queen on the board, I think he was not that confident about hitting a jack, but he would have been a little more confident had he hit the ace.
Yes.
So yeah, so that was a perfect play there by Eat My Ace. Very good. So far, we've seen some good play.
Oh, I get so done here.
Well, yeah, you can't call. You can't call. He's. Do you raise? I take it, and he's flat called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then but he showed me what you had.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Trying to wind you
up.
Yeah. That's not so good, Kev, to show. You really shouldn't show.
He showed me what you had.
I know you want to wind her up and stuff, but and wind people up, but it's not a good thing to show your hand. You know, you don't want to be giving information to your opponents. You really don't, unless you've got a big strategy in mind and you're going to be sitting at that table for hours on end. Then I can understand why you'd want to show certain hands.
I think old Kev was feeling a bit smug there that he'd done me. He made his bluff and it worked. I mean, to be honest, I hadn't hit anything, so I wasn't quite sure where I was.
You can't call? No, you can't call. The only thing I will say is it is a bit of a strange play. I have people do this to me sometimes, and quite often I'll re-raise. When I've been a raiser and someone has called me,
right,
and the board comes out and they're first to act, and all of a sudden they're betting, that is strange.
Why didn't they re-raise before?
Well, no, not so much that. Is, hold on a sec, you've seen that I've bet. There's a good chance I'll put in a continuation bet.
Yeah.
If you had a hand, why not let me bet and then re-raise me?
Right.
Rather than just, unless your hand looks vulnerable, which it wasn't really there if you had a hand. So it's a bit of a strange play sometimes, but you've got to have the, once again, you've got to pick the right moments to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I won't willy-nilly keep re-raising everyone. Yeah. It's got to, you've got to pick moments when you feel that that situation is correct.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've done it quite a few times, well, I say a few times recently. I've only played a couple of times recently, but, you know, it happened 2 or 3 times when I was playing yesterday, I think, actually, in a tournament, where people would do that. I just didn't, the board didn't make sense why they would be doing that. So I actually re-raised them with absolutely nothing, and they had to fold. So, you know, that's the thing to watch out for.
Okay.
But these are all sort of quite sophisticated plays, so, you know, you do have to understand the people you're playing against.
So it was fine for me to fold
there? Oh,
there.
absolutely. Yeah, there was nothing wrong in a fold there.
He gets his comeuppance.
So, Lyndsay misses. And NW Steve just checks. Now, sometimes, on some occasions, you hear me advocating a bet here once he's shown weakness on that board, but I don't really mind the check there, checking it down. You don't want to keep betting all the time.
I only had a look because it was really cheap, and then I just thought if I don't hit anything, it will just be check fold.
Okay. So you've lost a few chips since you've had you're up to the dizzy heights of 1500 quite early on, but it's come down. But it's still okay, it's still above your starting stack. And the good thing is you've got a bit more equity now because a couple of the players are knocked out too.
Yes.
So
not really bad shape.
No, you're okay at the moment. 6 players left, 3 to the money. Now this was a $5 tournament.
It was $5 buy-in, yeah.
Okay, so that means a $40 prize pool, which means 20 of that goes to first place, 12 goes to second, and 8 goes to third. So King Queen in early position. So what was your thinking here?
I'm trying to remember what James Browning said about King Queen rules in an unraised pot, so I thought it hadn't been raised. Well, obviously because I was first to act, so I put in a raise. Okay,
that's fine. That's what I would have liked to have done in that situation, 6-handed, either raise or fold. Certainly not to call in that situation. I'm not sure what James would have done. I think James would have been more likely to fold in that situation with 6 players left. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's a bit touch and go for him, which he would have done.
It's just quite...
Yeah, but I think you've done the right thing.
Because no one really had anything to call my raise with. So.
Yeah, no, King Queen's an okay hand to do it with.
No, I wasn't quite sure what to do in this hand because I'd hit nothing.
You've hit nothing, but the board is not that scary, is it? That's the only thing. So.
He's got his straight.
And did you raise with it? Pre-flop. Yes, you
yes,
did.
I need my ace called me.
Yeah.
I just wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I think something that perhaps you want to bring into your game at some point is a continuation bet.
Right.
Because you've raised, you've shown strength, and sometimes you need to come out betting again.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you've got to pick that. Once again, you can't just keep doing it willy-nilly. You've got to pick the moments when you think you can get away with it.
Yeah.
So does an 8-9-4 board look like you can get away with it? Probably.
Yeah.
So
I think I was putting him on a pair at that point, and I didn't know.
That's fair enough. Sometimes you can't always get it right, but the thing to remember is hitting a pair is 16 to 1.
Yeah.
So only 1 in 17 times will you hit that pair.
Right.
So
yeah.
Not very often.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I should have been taking more notice of the fact that the board didn't really look too scary.
Yeah. So, but that's okay. Better to err sometimes on the side of caution.
Of course, it's easier now seeing what my ace had. But then, of course, he could have hit the 6 and made his straight.
Yeah, absolutely. He could have done. We've got to remember this is amateur night, so the right way so far, I would say, and because you're not a regular player, how do you play much at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I play quite a lot online.
Oh, do you? Indeed.
Yeah.
Ah, this is all interesting stuff. Well, look at that. A raise from early position of ace-9, showing strength. You're aggressive, aren't you? Talking about boxing before and knocking people out.
Do you know why? Because when I first started off playing these games, the biggest criticisms that I was getting was for being too timid, too weak, not taking the chances that were there, and being far too timid.
Ah, well, this is interesting here. Oh, you folded the 4s. Interesting. Okay. Which is okay, because you know you're only going to be up against a bigger pair or 2 overcards.
Yeah.
So do you want to go out on that particular hand? The only thing with it is you are getting into a bit of a spot now. You're starting to, you've only got a couple of big blinds left.
Yeah.
So that might have been a hand you wanted to take a chance on, possibly. I'm not saying you should, I'm just saying it's a thought process.
I got my fingers burnt with a pair of 6s a couple of days ago, so I'm not,
so that was playing
I'm
on your
not
mind.
a fan of small pairs at the moment, and I just thought it just wasn't strong enough. And I'm just now hoping that I get something better before the blinds come back round to me, because I am very short stacked now in comparison to what the blinds are. I've only got 2 big blinds.
Yeah.
So the ace-jack is up against the ace-10. Steve's now got the flush draw as well. But he takes it with his jack kicker.
He does. Well, you're on the drip feed. It's not looking good.
I just thought I might as well go for it now.
Yeah. Well, you made a 640 bet, left yourself 20 just in case someone re-raises you.
It was meant to be all in. I think my finger slipped. I messed up with the dragger thing.
And Eat My Ace would like to knock you out, I'm sure. So he's decided to call with his 7-4 suited, and I don't really blame him. He had to call, really. 320 into, what was it, about 1100 odd.
He doesn't really want this other 20 off me, though. I thought I'm going to have to put it in now anyway, but he doesn't seem to want it.
Yeah. So why did you not go and put in your other 20?
I was dragging it along to the end for all in and just...
No, I mean just now for the 20 on the flop or the turn or the river.
I don't know. I was thinking if he's not going to take it off me, I'm not just going to hand it to him. And then I thought, he's like, I can still.
Unfortunately, the 20 won't get you very far.
No, I don't know. I should have just. Put
Yeah,
it in,
you should have done. You should have done. Because you just would have given yourself another.
I was waiting for him to bet and ask for it.
So he's trying to bully you here again, isn't he? He keeps raising all the time, this guy. Well, 4-2. You haven't had many hands recently, have you?
No,
You've been
I'm having a
dried
bit of a barren
up.
patch, yeah. Queen 5, I just thought...
Well, it's bubble time, so no one wants to go out here, but looks like your favourite at the moment, Lynn. You've got half the chips of anyone else.
Yeah.
And you just don't seem to be getting your fair share of cards at the moment. Everyone else seems to be getting something, and you're getting rubbish.
I just didn't want to go out with a Queen 5.
No, I don't blame you. The only problem is blinds are going to go up any minute. That's right, and you're next on the big blind.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling very confident at this point, Mark, I have to say.
Well, Eat My Ace wins with a 7-8 offsuit. Now, what's Kev Steele going to do? Oh, a tough one for you. What are you going to do, Lynn? What's your thinking here?
I'm thinking it's the best hand I've had in a while.
Okay, you've got some outs. You need to hit a jack or a 9 to make you a straight or a pair.
Go on, the jack.
The jack comes. Well, saved at the death. Gosh.
I just thought I might not get a better hand than this, and I'm so short stacked now. I'm going to have to just push in.
Yeah. Okay. The only thing I'll say about the play is that by pushing in, you had no fold equity in the other person. In other words, the guy had to call. It was just an impossible fold.
Right.
So in poker, you can obviously win by 2 ways. We'll just see what happens here because you've got aces. So let's just see how you play them. 640.
Just called Kev's bet. No, sorry, that's his big blind, isn't it?
Yeah, you just decided to limp in here. Try and make the most out of yours. And
I quite like the flop. Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty good flop for you. And you're slow playing it. Or were you worried?
No, I wasn't worried.
Okay.
I was getting him back for before.
Okay, he didn't want to do the same move this time, did he? So you won, well done. And I think you've done the right thing. You took a chance, took another chance, but you didn't push it to the limit. You gave him a chance to catch up. He just couldn't catch up. He had such a bad hand.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. So, no, you've done the right thing there. So, very nicely played. Might have been a little bit of an overplay, over slow play, but I think you've done the right thing. Gave him a chance to catch up. He had a strong hand. The board didn't look particularly scary. So Ace is going to take it. So, you're in the money.
He put me on kings there. He wrote in the chat box afterwards, kings. I remember that particular hand, and I was thinking to myself, no, it was even better.
Well, everyone's involved in this one. And Eat My Ace got a pair of 5s.
I'm only playing because I was on the big blind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You don't want to bet now because it gives Kev Steele the chance to get in for free. You can't. There's no point bluffing here because there's no side pot.
So the 5's knocked Kev out.
Well,
5 on the river.
Yeah, he had. Well, he'd hit a 5 anyway. Eat My Ace on the flop. King, king, 5. So.
Okay.
Second place is looking good for you at the moment.
Yes, considering I was quite short stacked, I was quite pleased to have be in the money.
Yeah, and you're all in. The guy can't fold with his pair of 4s. And this could be all it. Oh, no, the ace. Well, exactly what you want. You aggressive old so-and-so, you. Look at you. Taking poor Eat My Ace's chips. So you've hit a nice hand here. I dare say you're going to raise, aren't you, at this point?
I thought he was only right. He was charitable and shared them out a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've done the right thing. You raised, and Eat My Ace doesn't want to play. Don't blame me with that hand. You've got another nice hand here. Ace 9. And you've elected to call. I'm surprised at that. I would have thought you'd push it in.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't, actually.
Yeah, I think ace-9, if you decided to play it, you don't really want to call with that hand because there's not much you can really hit apart from an ace.
I'll let him push me off that, it was quite weak.
But had you had ace-king, you would say it was a great play. So, you know, but it's less likely, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, eat my ace is playing with a jack-6. Now, is he going to bet here? He needs to, he does, and he bets an amount that he can escape from. And don't blame you, can't really call there with king 2 or whatever it was.
Yeah, king 2.
You'd have to make a move at some point, though. Decided that this isn't going to be it. You need really a hand here because you're in for a lot of money now. The blinds have just gone up. And this is a problem here, Lynn. You might get away with it because Eat My Ace probably doesn't want to play 10-2. Yeah, you're lucky that you didn't have a bit more of a hand.
Yeah, I was looking to get the blinds there.
King 6 against 5-4. No, you just folded. Still in this. Now, king 2, king high. You might need to commit here, and you do. Oh, he's picked up an up and down straight draw. He needs a 5 or a 10, or a 7 or a 9. He's actually ahead on the flop. He's got more outs than 50-50. So with an up and down straight draw and a 7-9, he's a slight favourite, I think. Well, so you win that one, and now he's in trouble with his giant blinds. And you push in, he's probably got a call with his 3-5. He does. So you're looking to avoid a 4, a 3 or a 5. And it doesn't come, so the champion. We have the champion. Champion.
That's 3 now.
Yeah, excellent.
Quite,
Wow.
Was I lucky? Oh.
You should try, you know what you should try? You should try that that celebrity women boxing thing that I've seen. I think you'd knock them all out.
I wasn't that aggressive, was I?
I don't think they'll get in a ring with you.
Was I that aggressive?
You're a little bit aggressive.
Are you quite surprised?
I was, yeah. You're playing very confidently. Very confidently. I think you've been playing a little bit more than you led us to believe.
No,
yeah.
I haven't actually. I really haven't. I've got an email anyway from Double Top, who was observing the game.
Okay.
He was chatting away in the chat box. And Double Top says, "Hi, Lyndsay, and my lord, Mark Prince Charles Banin."
Ah, good.
My lord.
At last. We could have a bit more of that, please, from our viewers.
Yes, that's... We like a bit of respect.
Absolutely, yeah, a bit of respect, a bit more of that, viewers.
Double Top says, "Lyndsay, is that your 3rd win on Beat the Presenter?" Yes, it is, and to be honest, there is no one more amazed than me, I do have to say. He says, "Can you explain the 640 bet leaving 20 chips? I've never understood this play, but maybe you can help me understand." It was there's no really deep meaning. I literally just didn't drag the thing to the end. That was it.
But there was no excuse for the flop or the turn or the
river.
there
was no excuse for leaving it there, but I did just...
You just wanted to come back from 20, didn't you? You thought if you lose this, you come back from 20.
And to be the world's greatest comeback player.
I think so.
Maybe. But no, I literally just dragged it. I don't know why I didn't just then put it in. Lyndsay, what one thing do you think has turned you into a winning Beat the Presenter player? Is it a book, a website with great information, coaching from Mark and the boys, skill, or just luck? And he says, I'm joking about the luck comment. He says, well done. Maybe the next time I will get on the same table to pit my wits against you. Well, thank you. To be honest, yeah, it's not a website, although the Poker Night Live forum does help, definitely. I'm sure anyone who's been on there knows that there is a wealth of information there, lots of good discussion on there, but it is simply, I really do think it's actually doing Beat the Presenter and having every hand picked apart bit by bit and looking at all the situations. I think it's just so valuable to be able to do that. And I played shocking. The first ones I played, I really did, and that was like you said, I was being quite aggressive there, and it paid off in a couple of situations. And the first game I played, the main criticism was how timid I was being, and I was just.
It's quite normal for a new player. Most new players, well, they used to. I say that they used to. Nowadays, they don't play so much like that. But most new players, when I started playing, would always play in a very passive format. Nowadays, you're getting a bit more of a mixture. They're watching TV, so they think, okay, I've got to pump the pot each time. So they're playing a lot more aggressively. But that's how it used to be all the time. So that's quite natural.
And I think the other thing as well is that I've tried to take from doing the Beat the Presenter games. I've tried to take one thing away, like whatever the main mistake I was making, take that one thing away and work on that, and not think about everything all at once. So I was confusing myself. Just take one thing away, improve that for the next game, then something else. And so the first one was how timid I was being. Then the other time I was playing, I got really criticised for keep playing bad aces out of position, and so I tried to work on the way I was playing aces with bad kickers, and maybe stop playing them as much. So it was just taking one thing and doing it step by step, I think. So that's helped.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think that's a good, valuable point for the viewers out there. To each time you play. I remember, talking with or reading something. I can't remember exactly how it came about, but Dave Colclough, who's a top British player, and he was saying that what he used to do when he first started playing is that he would think about his game afterwards, and he'd always rerun the match, how it went, and what he could have done differently each time. And he's one of Europe's best players now. So that's a lesson we can all learn.
And look at if there is one particular mistake that you make, and just work on that one thing, and then move on to
very important.
else.
Very important to always come out of the game, not think how unlucky you got, because sure, everyone gets unlucky sometimes, but just think what you could have done differently. I had one instance yesterday, same thing. I made one little mistake, and it's a little bit of rustiness. I actually played pretty well, apart from this one mistake. So.
And you're saying, you're joking about the look comment. Of course, I got some good cards there, and I was quite lucky. I got when I hit the jack on the river. So that obviously came into it.
It's very unlikely that there will be some times where you go through the whole thing and you don't get lucky. You win it by pure skill or whatever it happens to be. But there are times you do need to win the odd lucky situation, and we all need that. It's the only way you can win these tournaments. You can't. It's very unlikely to do it all the way through.
But thank you to everyone who played in the Beat the Presenter game. I did enjoy it. It was very good. So, I'm quite chuffed. A text from ex-Navy boy who says, "Evening, Mr. Banin. My main man, yo. I've just started playing live and I've shown a lot of bluffs. People I've played said that this is wrong, is it? Now, this happened in the Beat the Presenter game when Kev bluffed me and I said he showed me and I didn't like it.
Yeah, this is a guy that I haven't heard from a while. He used to come on the show quite often and he sort of disappeared. Yes, I think it is not a good thing. The reason being is that poker is about a game of information, and the more information you can get about your players, then obviously the better it is for you. By the same token, the more they can get about you, then it's going to be better for them. Now, this is okay if you're going to be sitting at a table for a long time and everyone is going to get to know you and you have some ulterior strategy in mind. Then to show bluffs to wind people up and stuff might not be a bad thing. However, for the most part, I'll say if there's a hard and fast rule, don't show your cards. Unless you think it's going to wind them up so much that they're about to give you all their chips. So generally speaking, don't do it, because in tournaments all that happens is that you get moved tables, so no one's going to reap the benefit of that play anyway. Tables are shifted, so most of the time it's not really worth it. Certainly I would say don't show bluffs, because let's face it, you're going to get more. At the end of the day, you're going to get more hands than more bad hands than you are good ones.
Right.
So,
but it's an interesting question because it does happen a lot, especially online. So thank you for your text. If you've got any questions, please do get in touch with us. 84222 is our text number. Put the word poker at the start of your message, or email poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. There's the text number there, 84222. Or you can email. There it is, just in case you didn't get that. Write it down, send us an email, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Right, we're going to head back to our little cash game, which we were looking at earlier on. 5 cent, 10 cent.
Excellent, okay.
So we come straight over to a very interesting hand, queens, aces and eights.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look. Raise, re-raise, and Del Boy must know that one of them's got a huge hand here. He does, so he's probably decided, if I don't see an 8, I'm out of here. And that would be fair enough, I guess. He's got huge implied odds, obviously. He knows that one of them must have a big hand. And that's a bit of a lucky flop there for Hogg. He could have lost all his chips there. He might still lose them if he doesn't believe him for the king. Of course, we can see he hasn't got a king, he's got a pair of aces. But Hogg is lucky that it wasn't 3 undercards to his queens, because he would find it much harder to get away from, I think. So, not a lot differently can be done by any of those 3 players. They all done more or less what they should have done.
They all played it right.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Geordie had to bet something there. He couldn't give them two players 2 free cards, so he had to do something. Well, inside straight draw for Geordie. He needs a 10 to make him a straight.
Yeah, Del Boy's hit his ace.
Although he won't really want to draw to this 10 for the simple reason that there is a couple of spades on board. He might want to bet it though, but he certainly won't want to call it. And he should just be folding this, he does. Especially as he doesn't know what Del Boy's going to do either. Well, I'm surprised that Del Boy isn't sort of putting a bit more meat behind this. Unless he's looking for a check raise. Oh look, the 10 came, he would have made his straight, but it wouldn't have been a good draw, Geordie. There was only 2 spades there that were any good. Sorry, 2 10s there that were any good. You can see one of them was in Hogg's hand, was it? Sorry, Bankrupt's hand, or whoever that was sitting there.
This is an interesting name for a poker player. Money giver. I hope he's not.
Yeah, you better hope he's not. So we're watching a 5-cent, 10-cent cash game. This is a game where you can sit down anywhere between $1 and $10. The choice is yours. And we can see that Pascal, who's one of the regulars on here, he's doing pretty well. He's got $18, so he's added 80% to his stack. Geordie's doing pretty well. He's added 70% to his stack. But look at this, Del Boy, he's on 39.
Yeah, that's a big profit.
He's quadrupled his starting stack. That's incredible for a 5-cent, 10-cent game. Not easy to do, I can promise you, to quadruple your stack.
Yeah, because you have to think of it in context that you can only sit down with 10.
Absolutely, you can only start with 10, so it basically means you've got to double up twice.
It's impressive.
Which is not easy to do. Because, let's face it, there won't be situations where you double up. You basically will be grinding out and adding small amounts each time to your stack. So, he's obviously been playing well, Del Boy. So, interesting hand here. We've got Bankrupt, who's made it 40 cents, and Hogg, who wants to have a look with his pair of 9s. Yeah, a bit of a difficult one here for Hogg, because he's in very early position. I might have been more tempted, actually, to actually raise in this situation.
With the 9s, yeah?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. There is a slim chance that if Bankrupt has got aces or kings, and he's made that raise, Hogg really needs to find out, because the last thing he wants to do is hit a board like that, where it looks pretty good for him. And you see now what's happened, he's at his way behind, because Pascal's got the set of 7s. But what could happen, he's got a full house, so only a 9. I think
would
only
give
a 9.
him the better full house.
Yeah. And Pascal is just thinking, how can I get money out of this guy? Well, Pascal's going to bet something here, is he? No, he didn't. He let him off, I think. Yeah, I think he was trying to get Hogg to bet. So, yeah, the problem being is that you've got to find out where you stand in line with Bankrupt. Bankrupt limped, he made a raise.
Before the flop comes up.
Before.
Yeah.
For the simple reason, and I say this, and it's not so important to do with 7s or below.
Yeah.
If you want to call for your set, that's fine. But the problem being is that if you do it with a pair of 9s, there is still a reasonable chance that there'll be 3 low cards on the board.
Okay.
Now, if Bankrupt is sitting there with a pair of aces and the board is something like 7-5-2,
right,
and you've got a pair of 9s, you're now going to do all your chips.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas you could have perhaps, it might have been wiser to find out where you stand by raising in that situation with 9s. I like to do it with 9s or 10s if possible.
And he's looking to see if somebody re-raises him, and then...
If Bankrupt now re-raises him...
He puts him on it.
He puts him on the...
kings...
Queens or something like that, yeah. He now says, OK, well, I'll get out. Or if he calls, then it's suspicious too.
Yes.
You know, it's also suspicious, so you've got to play it carefully after the flop. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't bet after the flop, just means you've got to be aware that he could be slow playing a big hand here. Also, the other thing that it does, when you're calling 40, the other bad thing about it is, and especially when you're doing it from early position, you're now encouraging other players to get involved as well.
Right.
And of course, 9s doesn't play well against 4 or 5 players. You know, it's going to be a dog most of the time.
Yeah.
So by calling, you're encouraging other players. And in fact, what happened there, he was actually encouraging Pascal to get involved. And Pascal hit his set from
so
the big blind.
It works both ways. He finds out where he is with Bankrupt, and he also he gets rid of anyone else who doesn't really have a very good hand.
But he doesn't want people to come in with...
It was still quite cheap, so he gave Pascal the chance to beat them both.
Yeah, and he didn't want to do is get someone who decides to have a look because he's made it so cheap with Queen 10 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, whereas he would have scared if he puts another re-raise in, re-raise, anyone with Queen 10 is just going to throw that away, anyone with Queen Jack is going to throw it away, anyone with King Queen is going to throw it away. So he's now got rid of all those overcards potentials against him, and he's only going to be left with the bigger hand. Yeah. So I don't really mind it there. With a pair of 7s or something like that, I don't mind a limp. Yeah. Why? Because it's now less likely, or very unlikely, you're going to have 3 overcards to your 7s.
Yes.
That's not to say don't watch out for it if it does happen, but it's less likely. You're less likely to get into that situation.
No, that's a good point, actually. That's something to remember.
Yeah. Now, all these things are going to vary whether we're playing cash games or tournaments. This is not necessarily what you want to do in a tournament.
Yeah.
So this is specific. Obviously, the advice that we give on Poker Night Live is if we're watching a cash game, it's specific to that cash game. There are different ways of playing cash games. There are different ways of playing tournaments, so bear that in mind. You might hear conflicting things throughout the night.
Yeah, it doesn't. What works in a cash game is not necessarily going to be the right move in a tournament.
No. And of course, it can be different as well if you're watching 2 different cash games, for the simple reason that the status quo will be different each time. You have, in this case, we've got a big chip leader, who's Del Boy, who's sitting at the table. Now, if he's on your left or he's on your right, you have to play that cash game differently, and you have to play situations differently. So, you know, that's something that you're going to have to watch out for. Yeah, even cash games might have slight variances on what you do in situations.
If he carries on like this time next year, he'll be a millionaire.
He will be, yeah. I think he might have to move up a level or 2 to follow in his namesake's footsteps.
Yes. I think you're right.
So, Money Giver, doing the right thing. He's got a medium ace, and he doesn't want to play this cards, really, so he decides to nick the blinds, and that's exactly what he should be doing. You might say, well, what's the point, Mark, of nicking 15 cents? Well, this is all relative. We are playing a 5-cent, 10-cent game, so whether you're nicking blinds of $5, $10, or 5 cents, 10 cents, it's really all the same for the game you're playing in. Blind stealing is part of cash game poker, and just because the blinds are lower...
Doesn't matter what size they are, it's still important.
Relative.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all relative to the game you're playing. So we've got Ace King, who's betting out. Doesn't look like a particularly scary board, and Del Boy can't really call. Going to find it hard to call with that.
But sitting very pretty, Del Boy.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well.
Been quite interesting to watch the 5 cent, 10 cent.
Yeah, we've got some decent players on there, and we had a few manic ones earlier when we were watching, but they seem to have settled down now. So it is a a lot easier.
There was a few people in the chat box at the Beat the Presenter game watching, saying thanks for showing that game. It is quite interesting to watch, I think.
Yeah, well, it's a shame that we don't do it a bit more often, I think, on the...
It's just a bit different, isn't it? And you can see different styles of play.
Yeah, because that's the thing about poker, isn't it? It's a game for all players at all different levels. So I think it's important to show a range of different games.
Even the lower levels.
Even the lower levels, and we do see some good play on there. So. Yeah,
okay, well, we're going to have to take a short break now, but we will be back, so stick around and we'll see you in a few minutes. Hello, good morning. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. I'm Lyndsay, joined by Mark Banin.
Yeah, final leg.
Final hour. We're here till 2 o'clock, so we'd like you to get your questions in and your comments on email, because we're interactive and live, and we want you to get involved. We want to know what you want to talk about, so please do send your questions through to us. We're here till 2, so we'll get some more of your emails in just a little while. But if you'd like to send them in, you can text us here in the studio. There's the number 84222. Put the word poker at the start of your message, or you can email, and the address is there for you. It's poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the MTT, because we've been dipping in and out of it throughout the night. So we're going to head over there and see how close we are to finding a winner. Let's have a look.
So this looks like the final table, I think, according to the chips in play.
I think it must be.
Let's have a look, because there was about 260-odd thousand, and we got 163, 190, 225. Yes, we are. This is the final table.
The final few. So this is MTT. There was one rebuy and one add-on. It's a $10 MTT. We started with 94 runners. 1,500 chips was the starting stack, and there's been a 12-minute clock. The blind's been going up every 12 minutes. You can see at the top there, they're now 1,000, 2,000. And these are the final few. So these guys all in the money, Mark.
Yeah, it's. Let me give you a bit of a rundown on these prizes. So we're down to 5, just to give you a bit of an idea of who came where. Quite tight. Regular player on Poker Night Live came 18th. Fast came in 17th. Chelsea 25, who we saw a little earlier, he was down to 16th. Crash Flux, another regular, he came in at 15th. Just moving up a little bit. Snaky came in at 12th. Sods, who we got a glimpse of earlier, he was one of our featured players on there, he came in 11th. And into the money, 10th place was DZN 50 with $26.55. Stanters, we had a little view of him earlier, didn't we? He came in 9th for $53. ANJ IEUK, Angie UK, is that? Yeah, Angie UK, came in 8th for $70. Hey says hi, which I've got to say slowly, is $88.50. And we're down to the final 5, so that means Panini 1963 came in 6th for $115. Next prize, next person to go out will get $141. First place pays $531. So a big gap here, Lynn, between 141 and 531.
Yeah.
So they definitely want to get this first prize, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes a difference.
So
blind's just gone up as well. 1,500, 3,000 now.
Okay. So there's still some play. I mean, look at Disco's. He's got loads of chips there, hasn't he? Ace there for 24 Ginger. Worked out quite nicely. He hit it. And is he going to get any pay? No, not from Disco's. He wasn't that confident with it.
Yes, when we last time we watched the MTT, Ginger was chip leader at the time, wasn't he, when we left him?
He was, yeah.
So he's still there at the end. He's currently sitting in second place, so still doing well.
Still 5. None of them want to go out in this situation. Bottas is going to have to make some kind of move at some point. He's still not desperate. Whilst he's got only 21, he's not in a desperate situation at the moment. And the ace-9 of 24 Ginger is putting the pressure on. And nice play by 24 Ginger. He did the right thing there.
So how much is it going to affect the style of play, knowing that there is such big jumps in between the places? Is that going to really change things, or...?
It should a little. It really depends on your viewpoint. It's very hard for me to say because we've only just turned it on and they've got to link in. That's a factor that they've got to link in. They've also got to link it in according to the way the other players have been playing. And of course, with the shifting chip positions,
yeah,
it means that there's another factor. So all these things are continuously changing. So you've got to watch out for it.
So the ace-6 puts in the raise.
Yeah, Disco's is looking pretty good at the moment. Long way to go, though.
Quickly folds his ace-2.
Yeah, there's no one. The good thing about this is that no one is desperate at the moment, so they can still play some poker. Even Bodders, who's the short stack at the table, can still play some poker. He's not desperate to...
He's still got enough chips to make people fold, hasn't he?
He's got enough chips to make people fold, and also he can pick his moment. He doesn't... he's got to be a little more selective, shall we say, about when he picks his moment. He can't pick it as often as Disco can, for example, but...
he still demands a certain amount of respect because 25,000 is still a decent amount of everybody else's stack. Even Disco's, it's still a fair chunk.
Yeah.
Especially 24 Ginger. It would really dent his stack, so he's still going to demand some respect.
It has, yeah, absolutely. So he decided to get away from it. He had a raise and a re-raise, and that's good play there by half-ace. And I don't think Lee's got enough to put it down. But he does. He does put it down. And I think that was probably a mistake there by Lee. I think he was pretty much committed to that. And if he wanted a shot at that, that big prize, I think he would have really have had to put it in there.
Yeah.
I think he may rue that as a lost opportunity.
Yeah.
Sure, he made a move. But sometimes you just have to play and just hope that your guy's got, I don't know, ace-10 or ace-king or something like that, or a small pair, in fact. Which, if he had a pair of eights, he probably would have done exactly the same thing.
Yes.
So sometimes you just have to take the chance, especially as he was one of the shorter stacks at that point. It means now he's now going to be one of the short stacks. If he was still middle stack or chip leader, or up there, then okay, don't bother. But as he's now short stack, he might as well take that chance with that hand.
Yes.
So blind still 15-3. That means that there's going to be 4,500 in the pot, and this is the problem. Now Lee is going to have to commit himself at some point with a hand, and it's only going to bring him back up to 28, even if he doubles up.
Yeah, that's the problem now, and the same for Bodders.
Yeah. Now Lee might decide to actually push all in on the next hand from the button, seeing that Bodders is in trouble. Yeah, I think I would have left it from Lee. I would have just folded this one and then gone all in on the next hand, regardless of my holding, on the assumption that no one's gone all in prior to me, taking a chance that Bodders and half-ace don't have anything.
Yeah.
Because Bodders can't call without a decent hand.
And using his position.
Yeah, and just taking a chance to win the blinds. Problem is he's called out of position with Jack 7 and, you know,
he's in
I think he's got calls, and now he's desperate. You see, now he's lost a big chunk of his stealing ability. You know, half-face might call him with anything here. And he probably will. Well, he's lucky that 24 Ginger's the one that's been doing a raising. How does half-face like his ace-9, though? Probably not a lot. I think I would probably fold this. I don't really want to be a caller of ace-9, even though he's in a good position. We can see that because we can see the cards, but realistically, as you're playing the game, that wouldn't be a good call. If he was on the button, then maybe, but not... I'd much rather call with a couple of cards that are connecting.
Yeah.
If you're going to call a hand like that, call with a hand that's got some playability.
Potential, yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is call, hit your ace, and then, you know, the other guy's got a bigger ace or something.
Yes.
So half-face with his 10-3. Wanted to make that move. He felt it there, but he just didn't have the hand to do it. And Discos says, well, there's no point messing with a second chip leader on a rubbish hand. Why do I need to do that? Well, Bodders, well, he's playing very tight, and this is a bit too tight, really, Bodders. I think you need to make a move, and Queen 10's not a bad hand to do it with.
I think he's playing for that place, though, with Lee being in the state he's in, do you think?
Well, yeah, I don't know if that's so wise, because look at the difference. There's not that much difference between 5th and 4th. No, 141 and 168.
It's after that where the jumps...
The jumps start... Yeah, usually it's in the top 3 is where you start to get the better money. Especially, you know, 2nd and 1st, the jump from 3rd to 2nd. So I think whether you finish 5th or 4th is neither here nor there. I think it doesn't make any difference if you're finishing 5th or 4th. You might as well take the chance while you're 5th.
Yes.
And look, he's playing this very sneakily, as Disco. This I don't like, and I'll tell you why I don't like it, is because we've been sitting at this table now for, what, 10 minutes or so, and we haven't really seen, apart from one... Well, in fact, no, we haven't really seen any overly aggressive play pre-flop.
No.
So Disco is hoping that someone's going to raise, but of course they're only going to do that if he's happened to have got lucky and caught them with a big hand. So I think I would have liked to raise and hope that they've got a medium hand that they want to call with.
Yeah.
But I think it was just one of those things. Chip leader, he makes a raise. Most of the time they're going to get out of the way. And he's been sitting, that's the thing. He hasn't got a loose image.
No,
even though he's got a lot of chips.
He hasn't been playing a lot of hands since we've come to the table anyway.
No, he hasn't been, and that's a shame because I think he should be using his chips a little bit.
Right.
You know, he should really be picking on the likes of half-face's prime candidate.
Could start bullying a little bit now. This is what Lee's been waiting for. In they go.
Yeah, but look, he's up against a pair of 5s and he's getting no money for it. When Lee calls this, he's only going to get up to about 14,000.
Still.
15,000, in fact. And, oh, look, they both hit a set. So all the money would have gone in anyway. And he's back up to 15,000, but he's still on the drip feed, isn't he?
No, I think Bodders is going to be pushing in this time.
Yeah, ace king is going to get looked up with the 9s. And that's a good play there by the 9s. He doesn't want anyone else involved. And no one's got a heart, so 2 pair is going to take this one down. So yeah, that was a good play by Disco. He wanted to isolate him. He didn't want to be up against any other hands. So ace 7 and ace jack in the blinds. They're going to do battle, I think. Let's see. Lee probably likes it. I don't blame him for pushing here. And he does. And half-face is saying, there's no way I'm folding this. And he's right. Well, he needs some help. A 3 or a 2 will give him that help. Arrive. And of course, the reason a 3 or 2 will give him help, it would mean there's both play the board, 6s and 3s or 6s and 2s with an ace. So Lee is our 5th place finisher. He's going to take home $141 for his $10 entry. Of course, we don't know how many rebuys or add-ons he had.
Well, I suppose he could only have spent another 20.
He could have done 20 maximum, yeah. So, well done to all. So, blind still 1,500, 3,000. And Bodders gets that ace-king again. And 24 ginger. Hopefully he won't get seduced by the suitedness of his hand. It is a pretty poor hand. And he doesn't.
There's still a lot of play though, apart from Bodders. The other three are still quite comfortable.
Yeah, they are still pretty comfortable. Half-face is going to... Yeah, I might have actually just preferred to go... he hasn't got a lot of chips, Bodders, but that's okay. There's not... I mean, I think the best way of playing that situation is probably just double the raise. Make see if Bodders wants to go all in to try because he thinks you're trying to steal.
Yeah.
But I don't think he would have done that. I think he'll just fold it. It's such a bad hand. Oh, Jack Queen against Ace 5. First to bet is going to win this. 24 Ginger might want to poke out a bet here.
No, goes for the check.
Yeah, he maybe thought he was getting slow played or something. I don't know. With a board of 8-6-2, I think he could have used his position to bet. Doesn't have to be a big bet. He can make it 6,000 or so. Why does he want to give the guy a chance to hit his jack or a queen or some other random cards that he might have? And now 24 Ginger takes the chip lead. So it's all swingy here. Disco had it a moment. I think Disco didn't change gear. I think he just continued playing sort of a bit too tight. He had a big chip lead.
He sort of sat back on it for too long, didn't he? And maybe should have used that opportunity to bully.
A little. People can get overboard with it and they can really start pumping, but I don't really think that's necessary.
But just a little bit. He
every now and again.
Up a little bit, got involved. Yeah. Especially against the players with the shorter stacks. Yeah,
because you see, had he have done that, it would have been a good chance that maybe someone would have taken a shot at him with when he had the aces. But because he's been playing fairly tight and he's got a lot of chips, no one wants to take him on.
Yes, but he could have been stealing blinds.
If he did it in the meantime, exactly. If he did it a few times and they say, okay, can't keep having a hand, and just when you don't think they've got a hand, they pick it up. So half-ace is putting him all in if he wants to go for it. And it's the right play here. Bodders hasn't got a lot of chips. If he wants to put in his other 11, then so be it. But half-ace is a good chance that half-ace is winning here, albeit by not a great deal. He is going to be in the lead. And he takes that one down. So 4 pretty bad hands here. I think it's just going to fold round to the big blind. Unless Bodders decides to move. No.
Yeah, you're right.
So half-ace with a 9-3. Bodders with a 2-3. He's wondering when his luck's going to change. Not this hand. So Bodders is just letting himself ante himself out, isn't he? You see, now Bodders has moved up at least one prize money because of Lee.
Yes.
But he's left himself absolutely no chance of winning this tournament.
No, he's sitting there just praying for a hand. It's not coming. The blinds are eating him up, and he's going to have to push in soon anyway. Yeah,
I mean, I say no chance. He's obviously got some chance, but it's so remote that he really should have moved with that. We saw him with the Queen 10 just folding on the button, I think it was, and that was not right.
Yes.
So you just got to. If the prize money was so much greater. If there was like a big jump from 5th to 4th, I'd say, OK, fair enough, there's a big jump. He doesn't want to go out before Lee, I can understand that. But it wasn't. The jump was marginal. It was marginal. It was about 15%.
This could be quite costly for Ginger.
15-20%, something like that. Well,
put in 16,000.
He's got his answer.
Yeah, there it is.
And I assume Ginger will just fold this. 40,000, and that's a mistake if he calls.
Because half-ace hasn't been involved very much. He seems to be playing quite tightly. He's not getting involved all of the time. So the fact he's made such a bold move.
Yeah, no, that's right. And the thing about it was that it's like you said, he hadn't been making any moves, and as well as that, he was up against potentially a flush draw as well. So I think he was just trying to work out, is he on a flush draw or is he on a...
There we go, he loses Bodders. Pair of queens, knocks him out.
Yeah, so that was a bit of an anticlimax for Bodders. I think he was waiting too long. Should have made a move earlier when he had a few chips.
So what's he got, Mark, for 4th?
Bodders gets 168. So next player out is 221. Now, this is an interesting situation because... there is a big jump. From 221, it jumps up to 354. So that is worth...
Yeah. And look at that half ace as chip leader now.
Yeah. He's won 2 or 3 hands in a row, and it's elevated him to chip leader. Although...
He's sat patiently, though, hasn't he? And he's waited for the right moment.
Yeah, he's had no rush, has he?
No. Because he didn't need to. He was
comfortable, wasn't he? He's always comfortable.
In relation to the blind, so he's waited. Now he's making some moves, but he does have the hands, and he's chip leader.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for him so far, although still a long way to go. These guys have got plenty of chips, so none of them really have to, you know, go overboard with any particular hand.
No, they don't.
They can still play a lot of poker here.
They've all got over 20 times the big blind.
Yeah, absolutely. So
25 ginger, slightly less, but...
Yeah, 20 times the big blind is about right, I think, and half ace has a little more than that. 25 times the big blind, but it's not there nor there. It's all pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and pretty even. Strange play here by Discos. I don't know really why he's doing that. With 8-9, we saw this play earlier, and that's the reason he just don't want to do it. And now he's called out of position with 8-9, so it's a very nice hand. But you don't want to be calling big chunks of your chips.
No.
He's now called a third of his chips off with 8-9 out of position. It's a hand you want to limp in, see if you can get a cheap flop, and he didn't. He didn't catch a cheap flop.
Yeah, he was on the small blind there, so he could have just made up the big blind if he wanted to see the flop. He didn't need to.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I think Ginger thought he was trying to steal, and
yeah, you think he might be on tilt from the previous hand.
Yeah, because I think if he had have just made up the small blind, Ginger would have probably just checked.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, bit of a misstep there by half ace, I think, but I can understand why he wants to call with king 3. He might think that he's on tilt from the previous hand.
Yeah.
And he also wants to send a message to Discos that, you know, you're not going to steal my blind without me putting up a fight. So that was another, perhaps, strategic reason why he didn't want to give up his blind. The half ace will like this. What's he going to put out? A bet of 12,000 will do. Well, they're over-betting these pots. I don't really like the play, to be honest. I think it's just not necessary. There's no reason why you want to over-bet the pot, because the only time someone's going to call you is when they're beating you.
Yes.
So that's not really a sensible play. By the same token, I would have liked Discos to put in a little bit more of a protecting bet there. 16,000 would have been fine 4 times, because it is a weak hand. It's very, very vulnerable, so you want to give it some kind of protection.
Yeah, but there's no need for the 24,000, because a smaller amount would have done the same job, and then, like you say, if someone is beating him, that's when he's going to be caught, and then it's too late. He's already paid the price.
No, that's right. So you don't want to lose chips on a hand like that. Well, 24 Ginger gets a walk with his ace-king. Well, 24 Ginger and half ace, very almost level pegging now. And he's making a raise, another sort of raise with this Jack 10. I can understand why you want to do it.
There's the re-raise.
And he's called, and he's hit 2 pair.
The straight draw. That's a king.
Yeah, needs a king, and only a king. And half ace is probably saying enough's enough. I'm going to probably wrap this one up now. 24 Ginger might make a play at it, thinking that half ace doesn't have much, but we can see he's sitting pretty. He's sitting pretty at the moment with 2 pair. There's your answer, Ginger. That's the reason he didn't bet on the flop. He had a good hand. Well, you know, half ace likes to bet on the flop. Especially when he's got the lead in the betting. Well, 24 Ginger's going down pretty quick. And he's got called by an ace. But he's fortunate that he's hit his queen, so that doesn't really matter. No ace on the board. So, barring a miracle, 24 Ginger's going to win this one. And he does. Wow, this could be interesting. 24 Ginger with a suited ace. And he's elected to come in for 12,000. Don't really mind the play. And he must be getting a bit fed up of half-ace keep raising him. He's going to make a stand at some point. I don't think this is the hand to do it with. I think you've got to wait for something a bit better. But he elected not to call, which was a little bit surprising there from 24 Ginger. Especially as half-ace has done it to him a few times.
Having a little cheap look, makes up the big blind.
Yeah, and I quite like that play. And now he should make it. This is what I don't like. He's got 2 overcards, up and down straight draw. He should be betting it.
Yeah, because...
And this is the problem. He has to go all in now if he wants to play this hand. And he's just wasted a great opportunity.
Yeah, because if he put the bet in half, he's only had the pair of threes, he probably wouldn't have called it.
He wouldn't have called, no.
He only made the bet because of the weak check.
Yeah, he's got a very strong hand. He's got 2 overcards and an up and down straight draw.
Lots
he's
of
he's a favourite against top pair, I think, as well, in that situation. Even if the guy had an 8,
right,
as long as he's not counterfeiting one of his cards,
yeah,
I think if he had even something like Queen 8, I think he's favourite. I'll double check it, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
I'll take your word for it, Mark. So the blind's still 2,000, 4,000. And the one who they're going to start to affect soon is actually going to be Discos, who was miles ahead when we first joined this table.
He was, yeah. He's in a bit of trouble now.
It's not disastrous yet, but it's getting that way. He's got just over 44,000, just over 10 big blinds. Now, we've got King 10. No. Decides to push in with it, and unfortunately half-ace didn't have a hand. He certainly wasn't going to call that bet, so...
Yeah, so just to give you an idea there, with a holding of 2 overcards, or 7-8, sort of the 2 cards at the top of the end of the straight draw.
Yeah.
Even top pair, he's dead even to win. So...
so you were with the threes, he was...
Yeah.
He was
so with the threes, he was... never going to call, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a big favourite in that. Against the 3, he was a big favourite. Not big favourite, but enough to, you know, put a bet out and not be scared, basically. Oh, that's an interesting thing. Calculator is actually showing that against the ace-3, he's actually an underdog. Slight underdog. It's weird, isn't it? Against top pair, he's a favourite, but against ace-3, he's actually an underdog. Isn't that weird? Don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's... oh, I think I know why. He's got backdoor flush draw as well. I've put it in there, that's why. Let me just change that to diamond, and that should change the status quo. Yeah, they're back to even again.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. That makes a bit more sense. Yeah, so, yeah, missed opportunity there for 24 Ginger, I feel. And the funny thing was that the other guy had such a poor hand himself that he wouldn't have been able to call there.
No.
But you know, he would have made that move of absolutely nothing.
And there we lose Discos.
Yeah, Discos.
He hit his ace, unfortunately half-ace had ace-jack, hit 2 pair. And there we go, Discos out in 3rd place. $221.
Yep, 221 for third, and they're now battling it out for second and first. And
This is very much
354.
dominating at the moment, though.
Yeah, he is. 24 Ginger is in a bad spot at the moment. He's only got a little over 10 times a big blind. And Half Ace is just now going to pressurise him, I think, by the looks of it. He's not going to let him see any cheap flops. He decided that if you want to play with your rubbish cards, then you're going to have to pay every time. Well, 24 Ginger, he's probably just got to shove it in here. A bit weak there, really. Might tempt him to call. Yeah, he does. And that's the problem. You see, why would you do that? You just want to go all in with that hand. Or make it a big enough bet to scare him off.
Yes, that was just too weak.
It was just too weak. It was only 6,000 more.
Now he's hit his 9.
He's hit his 9, and he's got an inside up and down straight draw. 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's not going anywhere. So for a bigger bet, he probably couldn't call Half Ace. So he's got to do it in relation to the chips involved, and he's got to make him pay 36,000 basically.
Yes.
Every time. So otherwise, you know, his chips, betting 10,000 means nothing.
Now he's in the situation where he has to push all in.
He has to anyway. Yeah, he pretty much had to with that pair of twos. There was you can't play it any other way, I don't think, in that situation. If you happen to walk into a bigger pair, then that's just bad luck. He needs to find opportunities to double up. Whilst he doesn't really want to call with the pair of twos, he's not terribly upset if a call does come. So blinds are now 3-6. If it wasn't bad enough for 24 Ginger, it's just got a whole load worse.
And he's not getting any cards. This must be horrible for him. He knows he's got to push in, but he just wants something to push in with, and it's not coming.
No, it's not.
4-9, not really any better. He's getting to the point now where he's just going to have to do it, regardless of what the hand is.
Yeah, well, he's picked a hand. Unfortunately, that's not going to be it. It's all over now. Only a 4. Only makes a full house just to finish it off. So Half Ace wins this one, and he done quite well. He was waiting in the background there for a bit, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And then he finally pushed through and played pretty well, I thought, overall. Picked his moments wisely.
He did. So, he was quiet when we first went to the table and waited for those opportune moments. And
354 went to 24 Ginger and 531 for first place. So very nice indeed.
Well done. I've actually got an email from 24 Ginger.
Oh, okay.
Who says, "Hi YouTube, great show. I normally play sit and goes, but recently I've been playing MTTs to some success. As for the MTT 10s versus 7s debate, now can you remember the hand before?
Vaguely.
24 Ginger folded his 10s.
Oh, yes.
When I can't remember, Dazzy B had a pair of 7s.
Yeah. I remember now.
So 24 Ginger is responding to that. He says, in all fairness to Dazzy B, he had been tight, and so far he's only shown up top-notch hands. As well as that, he just limped under the gun. It smelled of aces, I don't know why. And I just did not want to double him up, so I folded. It's always a hard one to know when a tight player is just trying it on. And I now know this was the case. Anyway, it didn't harm me much in the long term as I came runner-up, although my play wasn't great heads up. The best I saw was Jack High in the hole early on, and I think I need some help from you, Mr. Banin.
From me?
And he says, on a bit of good advice I'll give to all players is to take note of what the pros say on Poker Night Live. I record each programme and mull over what they say, especially when I'm featured.
Yeah, I think you're doing exactly the right thing, 24 Ginger. There's no better way for you to learn than to actually watch yourself being featured and then watching the kind of plays that you made and could have changed. As I said, every time you do that, watching a couple of hours of that will really excel you maybe another month or two into if you hadn't been doing it, down the line. So it really is invaluable.
I won't beat the presenter.
Yeah, you keep winning all the time.
Which is quite amazing. But yeah, that's very, very... Especially then, of course, you get the opportunity to see what other people actually did have.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't if you weren't watching it back on
Yeah,
TV,
yeah.
unless they showed their cards.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, just to clarify the thing that he said about the 10s and 7s, that's a very valid point, one that I didn't bring into the equation. He said that Dazzy B had been playing very tight up to that point,
Yes.
and he didn't want to double him up, because he smelt of aces, like he said. So I can understand that situation. If you've been watching a player, we'd only just tuned in at that point, so
Yes.
we didn't know whether Dazzy B was tight or not tight. All I could tell you was how it featured at that very moment without any of the history. And at that very moment, it looked like a button still. So Dazzy B says, I'm not letting you steal my button. He had limped. No, I think he was on the big blind. I don't think he had limped under the gun. I might be wrong, but I'm not sure. Did he?
I can't remember.
Yeah, so maybe if he had
I
limped under the gun.
I remember the hand, and
Yeah.
I remember when he folded the 10s, we thought, was that a bit tight? But then we did say as well, and like he says, it didn't harm him at the time. He was in a good position at the time. He didn't need to.
No, just sometimes that can come and bite you back, because invariably, in a lot of cases...
He could have ended up quite far ahead at that point and been in better shape when he did get
Possibly,
the heads up.
yeah, possibly. It might have allowed him to excel beyond. But anyway, it doesn't matter now. He got second place. He picked up a nice prize.
Well.
So, you've got to play very well to beat 92 other players to come second. You've got to do something right. So, well done to you.
And you seem to be having a lot of success as well playing MTT. So as long as you're enjoying it and doing well.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, aren't they? A lot of fun. As long as you don't overplay, that's all I say, 24 Ginger. Don't play too much. Before you know it, you'll be playing every day, non-stop multi-tables, and then you'll just do it because there's nothing else to do.
I don't know if I should attempt to even read this email out because I don't know if I'm going to be able to pronounce it correctly. If I do this wrong, I'm sorry, but your name is hideous. This is an email from Archibald Pericastidlium, I think. If it's wrong, I apologise. And he says, Archibald, we'll call you Archie, that's easier.
Can you not call him by the surname better? Call him by the other name, go on.
Pericastidlium. Mark Banin likes to play 7-8 on and off suit. He also says that to play it effectively, you need lots of players in the pot. Why is this?
Okay, well, let's just clarify something. I'm not saying that you actually need lots of players in the pot. I don't really like lots and lots of players in the pot. I wouldn't want a full table to actually be on there, for example.
Yes.
I wouldn't want 8 players. I quite like having 2 or 3 players in the pot with me. So 3 other players is about right. If I could pick the amount of players, 3 is probably the best amount that I'd really want. The reason being is that what you're really hoping for is a couple of things. There's a couple of ways you're going to win with a hand like 7-8. One is for you to have to bluff to win with it, because let's face it, it's not going to make a straight as often as you'd like. The chance of hitting a straight with 7-8, as long as no one's got your other cards, are something like, I think it's 76 to 1, so it's not going to happen very often. And the other way is to bluff.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got lots of people in the pot, you've got 6, 7, 8 players in the pot, forget it. You're not going to be able to bluff 7 or 8 players. Someone's got to pick up something. So it's going to be very hard. With 3 players, it's not easy either.
Okay.
But if you read the situations well, then you can sometimes get away with it. Depends what the texture of the board is. Yeah. But it's really because if you do hit your straight with a hand like 7-8, you're hoping that someone will pick up a top pair, perhaps.
Pair of 10s or jacks or something.
Yeah, you might have 7-8 and the flop comes, I don't know, let's say 5-6-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're hoping that someone's sitting there with ace-9.
Okay.
Now, obviously, the more players that are involved, the better the chance that someone has got a hand like that.
Okay.
Or maybe someone is playing 5-6 and they've hit 2 pair. Of course, it can work against you as well when you've got the sucker, you've got the 2 pair and they've got the straight.
Yes.
So you've got to watch out for that. But that's generally why. But it's not something that's essential for a hand like that.
Yes.
Because as long as you do it in position, that's the key, then you can win with it by bluffing as well. And that's what you're going to need to do some of the time. But you do have to get the texture of the board right and not just bluff blindly.
Okay, well, there you go. Archie, old son, I hope that's answered your question. We are here for a while longer, so if you've got a question for Mark, then you can text us. 84222 is the text number. Put the word poker at the start of your message. There it is. Or you can email, and the address is poker@pokernightlive.co.uk, but you'll have to be quick because we haven't got long left. But we're going to head over and have another little look at our cash game. 5 cent, 10 cent.
Yeah, why not? Let's see what's changed.
Okay.
Okay, so Hog is still in there. We can see seat 2 has changed to something. The Donks, he wasn't there before, as far as I remember. Super Grand is new. Bankrupt is still there. Likey Surf, who I met last Friday at the Gut Shop after the Poker Bowl. I'm not sure if he was playing or not, but he turned up there. And Loving It, he wasn't there before. And Money Giver, he was there, wasn't he?
He's moved, yeah, so's Hog. They've moved seats.
They've changed seats, have they?
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause Money Giver was where Loving It is, and Hog was where Likey Surf is, I'm sure.
Ah, bit of musical chairs going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Del Boy's gone. He's took his 40 bucks and left.
Oh, look at what hand here we've got, Lynn. We've got Super Grand, who's picked up the house, and Bankrupt, who's done well, only to lose...
He did well not to do all his money in there, didn't he?
Yeah, not to go bankrupt.
Yes.
So, a poor semblance of hands here. Jack Queen is probably...
About the best, isn't
about,
it?
well, it's not the best, but it's, yeah, I mean, it's the best because of the fact that he's the best position.
Yes.
And that's the thing you're doing with your hands all the time. If you're new and you're watching, you have to combine your starting cards with the position that you're on at the table to make the overall strength of your hand. It's not a case of having a Jack Queen or King Queen. It's a case of your position and the cards, put the two together, that's the hand that you've got. Like one plus the other.
Yes.
And the better the starting position, the more points you get. Add that to your starting cards, and you know whether you've got a playable hand or not. So this is pretty good for Money Giver. He's made it 20 into a 30 pot, so that's fine. Could have made it a little bit more. I think I would have just preferred a pot size bet there because his hand is fairly weak, and he doesn't want... it's not fairly weak, it's very weak. And the problem is that he hasn't got much of a redraw there. And what I mean by redraw, it means that his hand is not very likely to improve very much. It's less likely, it's more likely to actually go downhill very quickly. So, look at that. It's a thing of beauty, isn't it, Lynn? The button there.
7, 8 on the button.
I'm getting all warm all over.
Now, Ace Jack in early position. What's he going to do?
Tough one. Depends on the table. He's got a full table there, and I'd be more tempted to just get rid of it.
Right.
Well, on a full table. It doesn't make very much. That's a problem, you see.
Now, what would you have done with the 7, 8 on the button there? Would you have called it, or would you have put in a little sneaky raise?
I'm happy to call in that situation because I don't know what Super Grand's limped in with. I'm a bit suspicious of Super Grand limping in that situation. I've missed completely. I've got 4 players. I'm not going to be able to bluff 4 players, so I'm just forgetting about this hand now.
Yeah.
So you can't win with it all the time. I'm happy just to let that one go in our occasion. And I don't have to worry too much about things like, you know, with 7, 8, you do have to worry a little bit when you hit top pair.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where some players, when they're playing that kind of hand, whether it's 7, 8 or 8, 9, doesn't really matter, but when they have that kind of hand, they can hit top pair and stick with it, and that's the problem.
Right.
You know, 7, 8 is not made for hitting top pair. It's made for...
the straight.
Made for the straight or anything else. I mean, we were playing at the Gut Shop, and he was playing 7, 8, and lo and behold, what comes on the flop? 7, 7, 7. Flopped quads. Not me, that was someone else.
I'll tell you what I saw being played the other night, which I've never seen before, but was great fun. One-handers.
I think it was funny enough. I just think it was, sorry, just to say, I think it was Likey that actually hit it. I can't remember if it was him. I think so. I think so. So you're watching one-handers?
One-hander. I've never seen it before.
Oh, right.
It was quite...
Where did you see that?
At the Gut Shop.
Oh, okay. This is when this is like the satellite.
This was like just before the tournament was due to start. People were just to win, you know,
the ticket.
The seat just before, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone was putting their money in, putting their hand out, and then they get the 2 cards, and then obviously all the cards. Well, they dealt the flop and sort of said, well, what could be looking good, what would be all right. But most people didn't look at their cards until the very end, then and then you sort of were scanning around the table really quickly trying to work out which was the best hand. It's actually quite good for working out which is the best 5-card hand, because everyone just turned over the cards at the same time, and you quickly had to scan around to work out who's got the best, who was actually winning. Yeah. But it was good laugh.
Yeah, just for those people that don't know what it's a one-table, one-hand satellite, and what that basically means. You don't get it very often in the UK. Sometimes it's been done in Amsterdam. I know at the Master Classics are the ones that do it quite a lot. In the Aussie Millions, they do it quite a lot, and it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely no skill involved.
No, absolutely no skill. It's a
pure
lottery.
Pure luck.
Basically, what happens, Lynn, isn't it? 10 players that are at a table.
Yeah.
If it's a $500 tournament, for argument, so let's say, make it simple. Let's say it's a £100 tournament. Each player will put in £10,
yes,
in effect, and they each get dealt one hand.
Yeah.
They deal a flop out. Whoever's got the best hand wins a seat.
That's it.
And that's how it plays. It's a total lottery.
And what they did as well was, if anyone had the same hand, everyone got another go.
Ah,
they didn't give 2 seats. They did it again.
They did it again?
Yeah, and everyone got another 2 cards.
Okay. That's a bit unfair, isn't it?
It was a bit unfair on the 2 people who
they
had
should
the best
they should
hand.
just do the same one more round for them.
Between the 2 of them.
Yeah,
yes.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that would be fairer.
Yeah, that's what they did. No, it was just it's pure luck, but it was quite good because everyone gathered around and was looking to see what everyone had, and it was a really good atmosphere. Yeah, it did. It was great atmosphere.
Yeah, you should see it when it's really for some decent money. I remember at the Master Classics, I think it was it 500 euros or something? Sorry, 5,000. I'm trying to think now what it was. I think it was 5,000 euros. I'm not sure. It's either 3,000 or 5,000 euros was a buy-in. So of course you're having to put down 300 or 500 for this one-hand lottery, and lots of people were doing it. I saw, I'm not joking, one guy buy 8 hands, and he left himself either 1 or 2. I can't remember the other guy, and the other guy 1 or 2 won. He bought 8 hands out of the 10.
Do you know what amazed me though? I saw some of them would have been cheaper to actually buy the seat. They were obviously just loved the fact of the...
Oh, look what we got here, Lynn. We got an up and down straight flush draw with a made flush already for much.
So, yep, 8, 9, 10, Jack of clubs. He's already got a flush.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to... He's over-betting it. I don't know why he's over-betting. He's paid $6 into a $4 pot, and I really don't understand that. He's got a huge hand, he's got the flush, he's got an up and down straight flush draw. So I don't really see the purpose of him betting like that. Not much purpose at all, really. He's only really losing to an ace or a king. Even the queen of clubs is not going to hurt him, because a queen of clubs, of course, makes him a straight flush, so which would beat any other flush. So if someone's got an ace or king, that's the only one that's he's losing to. So a bit surprising. So ace 5 is going to take this one down unless he gets bullied off it. No, he's letting them all have free cards here. He wants someone to catch up and overtake him. He's got away with it, but you really don't want to be playing ace 5. He's now betting. No, I don't really see the purpose of that. You might as well just check call in this situation. What do you do if you get raised? Call and waste even more money. So surprising. Strange play there by K. Hodge.
Yeah, K. Hodge.
Ace 5, you need to protect the hand. And Super Grand's limped in with Queen 9 suited. Hit top pair, that's pretty good. Although, won't get rid of Hog. Hog's got...
He's got a straight.
He's got a straight draw. 7, 8, 9, 10. He's now picked up a pair as well. So he's got a fairly nice hand. He's about 2 to 1 here, I think. Hog to win this hand. He's still behind.
Needs a 6 or a jack.
Yeah, 6 jack or 5 or 10. Well, Super Grand's been re-raised, and now Super Grand is worried that Hog has got the 6. And, well, strong play. Excellent.
There you go. Do you enjoy that?
Yeah,
That was a first for me, 5-cent, 10-cent cash game, but I think maybe we'll be doing that again, especially on an amateur night. I think it's good to look at those tables, because a lot of new players will be playing at stakes like that, and it's good to see the play.
Yeah, and overall it was pretty good play. It was pretty good standard, although we do get that on Poker Night Live. We do get a much higher standard of play throughout the small tables compared with other sites.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's been good to watch.
And did you enjoy the MTT tonight?
Yeah, there was some interesting play there. I always enjoy watching multi-table tournaments because, you know, you always get the status quo changing. it's always different.
Yes.
So that's good.
But thanks for watching anyway. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. We've enjoyed it tonight. We hope you have as well. And thanks for watching. But we have to go now, so good night.